But the idea that this is an older brother is interesting. Because now, let's see, I kind of got chills a little bit. So now we have another reason why the main character doesn't leave. The older brother wouldn't let her leave, stating it's too dangerous to go outside. She can't even run. How is she going to survive what's happening? If people, normal people, who are able to run aren't making it out, there's no way I'm letting you out of this building. Which is a very interesting perspective, because now he's freaking out. Now he's really defensive, right? Now he's very protective. And then you can create interesting situations, interesting conversations, where now the coworkers are saying, like, why are you, stop being so damn biased here. Stop only caring for your sister. All of our lives are at stake here, right? So now we have like these tense moments, these friction moments and topics where now you have like an older brother trying to protect his sister while also trying to be professional and help people, which is a very real and interesting story to explore. How would this person react? How would this person go for it? Which is kind of cool. I think it's a really excellent perspective, Dragon.
Hello everyone. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day so far. Today we are going to be doing some game dev. Specifically, we're going to be deciding how the ride or die is going to go about, including going in an interesting new direction. We're going to take a look at some art y'all have made of what the mimics might look like. It kind of gives me fish people vibes. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm thinking. You picking up what I'm putting down. And it wouldn't be a game dev stream if we didn't do some introspective topics. The purpose of an action isn't always to change the outcome. Sometimes the action in of itself is the answer. And then also not so introspective topics as well. Oh God. Sorry. Why do you make such good sounds of agony? I'll never tell. So sit back, relax, get some drinks and some snacks, and I'll see y'all in a second. Hello everyone. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully well. How y'all doing on this fine Tuesday? Hey Ratty. Hey Scallion. What do you mean Deltarune tomorrow? Is there like a new chapter? Because I think there was chapters 1 and 2 were out already? Feel free to correct me. Also unlocking Tainted Isaac characters? Hell yeah. Bro, I have so many hours of Binding of Isaac. It's ridiculous. I wonder if we should do Binding of Isaac on stream one of these days. I have like... oh gosh, collectively? Like 500 hours? Something like that? Like I had... there was the original Binding of Isaac, and then there's Binding of Isaac Rebirth, and then I also got Binding of Isaac on the Switch, because playing Binding of Isaac on the road is actually pretty dope. Like, I played, that was like, don't judge me too hard. When I wasn't, did you know Isaac have online multiplayer? I didn't realize it was online. I know that they added on, like, I know like the baby thing, but I have recently seen Binding of Isaac content creators be like playing with each other, but I assumed that was like a mod, right? June 4th, Deltarune. Okay. Well, I have a lot to catch up on before we get to that point. I have to play the main game, and then I gotta play all the Delta Room chapters. This base game, which is awesome. Oh, I did not know that. That's actually pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. No, I've been removed from it forever. I just haven't. It's just a game that I play whenever I'm on the road, which is not often. Usually when I'm on the road, I'm the one driving. So I just don't get to play it. So essentially whenever I fly, and I almost never fly. But yeah, no, I highly recommend that game. It is such a fun game, and it's such a weird game. It's such a weird little game, but it's so good. I don't know if I ever 100%ed it. I know I was close on one of my saves somewhere that I was close to getting every single ending and every single item and that kind of stuff, but I never got the what was it called? It's where you have all 3 save files be 100%ed. It's like God or Isaac God or Dead. Was it Dead God? Or is Dead God one of them? I don't remember. Anyway, it's a great game. I mean Bethany, because of the right active, she's OP. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like all that health, dude. Forget about it. Wait, hold on. Bethany is the one with the health, right? Not the one with the crow. Because like those. Oh, Bethany's the one with the wisps. Oh, I was thinking of is it Madeline? I was probably thinking of Madeline. Yeah, the Burk of Virtues. Yeah. See, like I dropped Binding of Isaac before they started adding the new characters, so I never got to play. I never really got to play her, Bethany. Maggie. Oh, as you can tell, I'm bad with names. Period. Hey, thanks for the pet. Mama Dodo appreciates the pets. But yeah, no, the Yamaheart is what I was thinking of, because also her as well. Like, there's so many things that if you have an excess amount of recovery and health, is just, you get to steamroll, right? But yeah, no, though the wisps definitely. I had issues with. Oh, I just need to get good, to be honest. Where like things were getting way too close. And killing my wisps consistently, and I was just like, this is so frustrating. Oh man. But hell yeah, I'm always for Binding of Isaac. It is such a quirky, weird little game that has stolen my heart. And don't judge me too hard, but essentially when I wasn't in college, and when I wasn't playing League of Legends, I was playing Binding of Isaac, which is very different games, by the way. Very, very different games was when those two things were happening. And I loved Binding of Isaac so much at the time that I was taking a fiction writing class, and I was really, really, really enjoying it. And I was going to write. I was in the middle of writing a story, and I was in the middle of playing Binding of Isaac, just kind of cooling my brain off. And then I was like, "Oh, I should write a story inspired by Binding of Isaac." So I pulled my first ever all-nighter. As a science major too, by the way, which is pretty, big. Where I completely trashed my previous short story and made a short story about Binding of Isaac and presented it in class. They probably thought I was so weird because no one else had any idea what Binding of Isaac was. They were like, "Dude, are you okay? Are you all right?" Such a fun class though, by the way. If you ever have the opportunity to take like a fiction writing course, highly recommend highly recommend it. It's very good. If I could ever find it again, I will post it. I will probably reread it now and think it's super cringe, but like, you gotta start somewhere, I guess. Is that technically fan fiction? Is that Binding of Isaac fan fiction? What is the parameters of fan fiction? If I write a short story that is inspired from Binding of Isaac, is that fanfic, or does it have to be like pertaining with the characters as they are? Because I don't know if I ripped Isaac from there, but I think it was like a story that was kind of built around in a similar manner, right? It was like if a normal person were to be thrown in into Binding of Isaac worlds in their reaction and what they needed to do. Like, it was more of that line, right? But oh man, that class was so fun. We're going to cancel ever again. You could make me. Hi, silly. So it seems canceling didn't go well. I'm sorry. Time to get a new counselor. Counseling isn't the problem, it's the counselor, okay? Please don't give up on mental health. Everyone needs it. I should be taking counseling. Every single able-bodied person needs to have mental health person. Watch Instagram for the past hour while I stared at the floor. That is so bad. How are they a counselor? Bruh. Why is it that I can't find a job, but that that's all they did? What the hell? Were you in the right office? Are you sure you just weren't like the counselor's like niece was there and then they just kind of were hanging out in the room? Or quiet one, she started raising her voice at me. What? What the fuck? What is this horror story of a counselor? What the hell? That's wild. That's actually crazy. Yeah, no, get the hell out. It's like, all right, well, bye. I'm not coming back to you again. What the hell? What the hell was that? That's wild. Was this BetterHelp? Like, what the hell is this? One more session with this person? Yeah, no. If there's any way for you to just be like, can I use it on another person? Like, you don't, like, a raising your voice at somebody is more often than not on the person raising their voice. Like, it's on them. You shouldn't be, especially in a place of like communication and understanding and trying to work through issues. Like, that is not something you do unless like you're really, really out of line. And even then, like, it's last resort. It's not the first thing you pull out of the bag. Like, what the hell? Like, I can't imagine a situation in which it's just like, well, time to start raising my voice at somebody who's here for counseling. Like, what the hell? Bruh. She retired? Aw, I'm sorry. That's like the worst, because then you found a good one, and then you want to, like, okay, cool, and then now you have to start over again. Now, well, here's a question then. Would you be able to ask the old one that you love so much if they have any people that they recommend? Because more often than not, they know you well enough to know who would vibe with you, and then they would have connection with people who aren't retired who would be able to help you out, right? I would, but she's gone for good now. Well, I mean, like, she's gone for good in the sense of like working, but you could still contact her, right? And be like, hey, do you know anyone? Or is she essentially no contact? Or it's just like, yeah, no, there's no way to make this happen. Because I don't know, if I was retired and someone that I worked alongside with still needed help, and they were to get my contact information, say like, hey, I'm not asking you to counsel me, but I am asking is like, if you know any good people that you know that would feel like would be a good fit, I would oblige, hands down. But I'm not them, so I don't know. I think, like, worst case scenario they could say is no, and then you're back to where you are now, which is trying to find someone, right? But best case scenario is you skip the line, so to speak, and you find someone good. Just in person, because they're new counselors that she doesn't know of. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, time to get that old grind. Just, you know what? At least you know now. Hey, listen, silver lining, right? We always try to look at things positively, or at least that's what I try to tell myself when I don't. You know, at least you knew immediately. At least you know instantly. Like, hey, this is not going to be the right person for me. You're not going through months of them pretending to be somebody. You're not going through like where they're just not, like, things feel a little off and you don't know why. Like, no, they showed them their real selves immediately. You clocked it immediately, and both of you can now separate, hopefully. Now, is there any way for you to get that last one? As far as like, hey, I'm not doing that last one. We're going somewhere else. It's like, that's not happening. Or is it like you have to go to that session? I mean, at that point, silly, listen, I'm not going to give you any bad ideas, probably, maybe, perhaps. But, you know, me and my spiteful part of my brain is just like, what if you just break out your Instagram? Yeah, like, what if she pulls out her Instagram, pull out yours. Scroll your Instagram. Tit for tat. Treat her as she treats you. Reflect that shit. I don't have Instagram. Honestly? Yeah. No, that you probably shouldn't. I wouldn't. Am I peaking for y'all? Hold on. I seem a little hot. A little hot. Hold on. It's me talking. All right. Okay. I'm not that loud, but hearing myself hurts my brain. Okay. I'd rather get it just to piss her off. I mean, social media is not good for the brain. It's just not. I wasn't on social media. Oh, by the way, how you doing, Star? I didn't mean to ignore you. Anyways, I'm a bad student. I walk out on sessions when I'm angry. I mean, you shouldn't be walking on classes. So that much is true. You shouldn't. And it's unfortunate that you get to the point where you feel like you need to do that. But I can't say that I'm fully not proud of you of removing yourself from a situation before you escalate the situation. You know? Like, I think that's very adult to kind of be like, you're pissing me off. I can't be in this space. I'm going to remove myself from this space. I think is smart. And I think is, like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't get on you for that. You shouldn't be walking out of class, and I don't want y'all to, like, I don't want y'all to like miss out class just in getting to that point. Dumb French. You were being racist. I allowed it. These dumb French. It's like, most of the time it's because when dumb French gets you, she yells at people for no reason. Yeah, like, sounds to me silly. You don't like getting yelled at. Which is a completely, like, reasonable thing. It's really, like, people shut down when getting yelled at. If I get yelled at, it perks up my anger. It's like, who the hell are you? But I get almost territorial when I get yelled at. It's just it almost becomes like, who the hell do you think you are talking to me that way? Like I get very like, I start digging my heels in the ground. The last cancer said was probably because my mom shouts at me all the time. Oh, I'm sorry, silly. Honestly, probably. It's gonna take a long time to work yourself through that. But I don't know, the best thing you can do is just try to process that in a healthy way. And try to approach your anger in retaliation of being yelled at in a healthy way. Removing yourself from the situation. I fidget too much, which is another reason we'll get into trouble. Yeah. I'm not a super big fan of the way education is done, as far as just like really not properly giving the space needed for people, especially like people who may be different and need different ways of teaching and expression. So like it's part of the reason why, even though I feel like I would have been a very good teacher, I didn't want to go into teaching, because I would allow and try to accommodate and like I would be great for the students but horrible for the upper. Anyone above me would hate me, everyone below me would love me. Kind of situation where it's just like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. No. But listen, I will just do what I can here, and you know, if it takes in the direction where I'm just start teaching things online, I will do it. Fuck it. I feel like I have a really nice teacher and she suggested I get homeschooled. Yeah, your parents have to like be able to accommodate that, and that's such a big load on their shoulders. And also, like, if you're in a situation where like your mom yells at you a lot, is that better? Is that a better situation for you? Like, is it? I don't know. FYI, this is a conversation. I do want to say that I am not a licensed therapist in any way, shape, or form. This is just a conversation. So before people are just like, are you about to give therapy advice? It's like, no. I have a minor in psychology. I was with someone as they got their master's in family therapy, and I absorbed a lot of information. So I have a lot of passive good standing in information that I can share and express, but I am not an expert. So just letting people know, I am not coming at this from a licensed therapist. I am not one. But, so feel free to take that as a grain of salt. But, with that being said, she switches moods really fast. Is she bipolar? If she switches, if she switches moods really, really, really quickly, that reads bipolar to me. You know? But, you know, people sometimes switch, so it's okay. But still, you know, it's kind of one of those things where might just be exaggerating. I mean, yes and no. That is certainly possible that you're exaggerating, but it may also be possible that you're not, right? People have a tendency, not always, especially when we get older, you'll find this. We really kind of understate what we've gone through. Where it's just like, oh yeah, no, it's like, don't worry, I flinch sometimes when people raise their hands. And it's like, what? He's like, why do you mean you flinch when other people raise their hands? It's like, yeah, you know, it's all right. It's like, every once in a while, my parent would discipline me, and people would be like, no, that's not a thing. Well, you know what, silly? I'm not even gonna allow that through. You know why? Because we have a rule in this chat, and that rule is you must be respectful and kind to people, and that includes yourself. You were not being respectful and kind to yourself. It's not true. It is how you feel. That does not make it true. You feel like you are. You perceive that you are. But that does not mean that you are. That's just where your head's at the moment. So I, from my perspective, disagree. Granted, I also have a bad memory, so I can't do much about the memory. No, it's the first part. It's the first part of that statement. The bad memory, I can't say that. No, Carrion is good. I liked Carrion. Where you are the monster. So, but the first part, I disagree. Well, I disagree. And I viciously wag my finger at anyone, including yourself, who says that. People can struggle. People can, there's an idiom, I think it's called an idiom, where there's a picture showing a bunch of animals with desks in front of them and a sheet of paper, and it's like a bird and a monkey and a fish and like all these different animals, and it said the test was how well can you climb a tree. And do you think that fish can climb a tree well? No. Do you think that fish feels like a failure? Absolutely. But does that mean the fish is a failure? No. They just haven't been doing the thing and or being tested for the thing that they excel in. People excel in different things. I love your art, and I enjoy your company. So those are, as far as I'm concerned, you're doing just fine. You may be struggling in a lot of other places, and you may be struggling in school and with people, and but that will pass. You will find people that will align better. You will find the support that you need, and you will flourish. But you just have to get through the rough and tell your new therapist all the things you've gone through. And then they're gonna be like, damn, that's a lot. He's like, man, I'm really getting my money's worth out of this. But, so I disagree. I really, really do. You see Mama Dodo getting thicker lines on her beaker nose? Yeah, I drew the lines a little thick on this one. Family reindustry. Oh, well. So I have your back, silly. At the very least, there's that. BFDI? What is BFDI? What is that? What is that BFDI? No. I'm streaming. Oh gosh, fine. I'll do it on my phone. BFDI. What is that? BFDI. Battle for Dream Island? Oh, this is the thing that y'all wanted me to watch, isn't it? With a bunch of stuff, with like everyone's like different objects. Y'all really, really wanted me to watch it. There was like 15 seasons or some nonsense to it. Everyone said it was peak, and I was just like, I just haven't. Bro, I can't even watch. I can't even. There's 5. Okay, well, whatever. It's called exaggeration. Look it up. I'm just kidding. No, like, I can't even sit down in time to watch, like, what was the League of Legends show that everyone is going crazy for? Arcane. I haven't even seen Arcane yet. And that shit is peak. So, like, like, as much as I would like to sit down and watch it, I'm just never doing it. I'm just not, I just don't have that kind of time. Any time that I'm not working on stuff or trying to catch up on stuff or trying to improve myself in some kind of way, I'm like shutting my brain off with YouTube videos. Like I'm not it's something that it has to be something that I've seen before, so I don't pay too much attention to it. You want to it was too nostalgic? Gotcha. So did you read my message about the game? Yeah, I believe I did. And I said it's a cool game where you're the monster, and I like that they kind of flip the script where it's just like, oh, you're the baddie. You're the bad one. All right. Okay. 30 minutes in. That feels like we should at least somewhat dip our toes back into game development. Better watch it though, or I will kidnap Mama Dodo. You will try. I don't know, man. I don't know. But fine. I'll watch it. I'll sit down and watch it. Maybe the next no, I've played it before. I've played that game before. But it was just a long time ago. Our next 24-hour stream. There's like the hour breaks in between. Maybe we can watch it then. Maybe we can watch it on stream. But I will do my best if I have time to watch it. So then y'all could be like, yay! He finally watched the show we've been demanding for a year. That he watched it. There's DLC. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I feel like that's an older game. Unless it's a different game that I'm thinking of. Watch it chronologically, though, or you won't understand a single thing? Well, no! Well, yeah. I wasn't going to start in the middle. Who does that? I'm not going to watch it backwards. Like, nah. Like, no, you start from the beginning. Every time. Even if it's an old thing. Every time. Damn. Alright. So what are we doing? Because the brothers were like 10 when they made it the season one. Yeah. I mean, that's the one I began with, and it just didn't hook me immediately. Because, you know, each episode was like, what, 20, 30 minutes? And it's like 5 seasons and like 14 episodes. I'm like, that's a whole thing. That's a whole commitment. That's a lot. So maybe I'll try to remember that when I'm putting stuff up on the side so that I have some noise pollution when I'm working on stuff, to be putting that up instead of like my usual, like I personally like putting up like spooky videos and spooky movies. Something about the slight increase in adrenaline intenseness of that environment allows me to focus really well. 4A and 4B was peak. Okay, well, I'll keep an eye out for that. Not really sure, but you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Listen, if watching this makes me half as a decent good as expressions as you are, then you know what? I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to give it a shot for that. I'm willing to bite the bullet if it means to make it look at that. I'll make so many references of it, so be prepared. Okay. I suppose. Listen, there's a lot of things I need to catch up on. I like that Undertale is another one that we need to play at some point because I've never played it. So it's like And that game just gets older, and references still builds, and now there's Deltarune that's like based off of it. So now I'm like, oh great. If I'm gonna understand anything, I have to go back to the OG source to get a feel of it. Oh man. Alright. Okay. While you do that, let us see. Alright, let's go ahead and get rid of you. Let's go to last call. So the last thing that we did, that we actually managed to accomplish, was on the 20th of May. 03 June. We skipped 27th of May so I could catch up on stuff. Which, to put it lightly, I kinda have. I'm still behind on a lot of things, but I've caught up a decent chunk. We're getting there. I managed to do a full day yesterday of short form content that I was able to catch up on. Anyway, long and short of it, I don't plan on stopping the Tuesday work on stuff as a day to, like, it's like a sacrifice so I can work on things. How hard is Hollow Knight? I heard it's pretty hard. I heard Hollow Knight is pretty hard, but I've also heard it's good. Because I don't want that brain to figure out where the hell to put this. You can put it in meme, I suppose, if you want. But I also haven't played Hollow Knight, and from what I've heard is that Hollow Knight's not a very good like stream game. All right. I'm also drinking more Mountain Dew Baja because I was like, if I'm gonna be able to work on these game dev today, I'm gonna need caffeine. I need to grab more caffeinated drinks. I took it yesterday because I was like, today I'm gonna work all day, and I did. I worked all day yesterday. I essentially got up, worked, and went to bed. That's kind of exactly what happened. But we got some good shit. So we decided to not leave gaps in the imposter spread. That's what we decided. We put together potential reasons for a ride or die. Do we want to finish that up today? Do we want to finish giving the reason why the fourth coworker stays with the main character? Because we could do that. We could knock that out. Added the cultist to the scripts, which should have been added to the scripts in the first place, but I guess we just didn't like write it down. Added notes to the scripts for considering differences caused by short versus long distance mimic invasion. I think I remember deciding that we didn't want that. Let's check out scripts and see what the frickety frack I was talking about. Sent? Hell yeah. I will check it. I might not have time for it, but one of these ad breaks, I'll check it out. The first one is usually the one where it's just like, I have to do what? Actually, crap, I need to upgrade. I need to update. Hold on. You know what? I'll do it live. Let's do it. Oh no, I'm inked. Ah. You know what I need to do? Actually, with the inked. Where's inked? Where are you, inked? There you are. We need to move you. Film green. I want to move you up. I want the film grain to be all the way up at the top. There we go. So now when you do it, what the hell? What? Where's the What do you mean sorry for being late? What are you talking about? Whenever you get here is the time that you're here. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to make it to cover Mama Dodo. Why? Oh, it does cover Mama Dodo. But hold on. All right. Well, yeah. All right. Okay. So this is what we're doing. We're drifting. My gosh. Yeah, no, it does. It does. So let's see here. Let's see if we can mess with it. Let's do some color correction. Where we'll do that. We'll have it up. And then we turn saturation all the way down to like negative. Does that do it? So right now I'm trying to like fix the film grain thing right now. Yeah, I'm trying to fix ink so it turns everything black and white. I don't know why it's not. Contrast. No. Okay, gamma. No. Actually, that kind of looks better though, doesn't it? We could do it like that. Oh god. Brightness, no. Saturation, no. Hue shift, no. Opacity. Hold on, let's do Luma key. Let's see here. No. How about no? No. Oh. Ah! Oh, guys! Sorry. Okay, so this did not work. Huh. Let's see here. There's definitely a way to do it. Color multiply? Why do you make such good sounds of agony? I'll never tell. I'll never will. Okay, so the color correction didn't really do nothing. So what I think we need to do is kind of like almost add. I don't know what we can. Anyway, I'll mess with it. You know what? I'm gonna add it to my stream notes. Okay, hold on. Before I do this, I have a tendency to leave up things I shouldn't be leaving up, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And I was right in doing that. Open. Not even to-do list. We're looking for. No, we're gonna do to-do list. I want to fix inked, make black and white. There you go. Right? Mama did send something art from the souls we feed her. Just like the sounds of just her eating, just echoing through the world. No. Well, dang it, I got distracted. I don't even remember what I was gonna do with, like, we're gonna do this in real time. And I was gonna do this, something. I was gonna make something like a command or an action or something. I don't remember. Okay, we're just gonna... Anyways, gonna try inked. You can try it if you want, but I didn't do the thing. I didn't fix it yet. So hold off on inked for now. I still haven't fixed star power yet. We're just gonna, it's just I don't know how to fix it as of right now, and I'm getting distracted by what I should be doing, which is game dev. If it was Sunday chill day, I would make it and fix it in-house right now, but it's game dev day, meaning I need to work on my game. Though if you looked at most of the game dev freaking VODs, you would kind of be like, is that what this is about? I thought it's about you talking about ketchup half the time. Anyway, I wanted to check, it was the narrative notes. Perhaps have certain narratives be used for places when the previous house attacked as closer versus farther away. What? I'm just gonna have you in a Unity tutorial? Hell yeah. Sounds good to me. Best of luck to you, Dragon. Let me know if you have any questions, and maybe I can answer it. Maybe not. Maybe I don't. Who's to... Oh, I remember! I remember what it was! Oh, I'm gonna do it right now while I'm thinking about it. It's the beginning of the month. You know what that means? That means... I need to increase the workouts. 35 push-ups, 14 squats, 14. Okay. Safe. That's what I need to do. Because we've now increased incrementally. We're going to be doing so much for next month. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, so what I'll say before you start spending all your points, it didn't update. It only upgrades for the every hour when I go on ad break. I didn't increase the one for the redeem. The redeems don't increase every month. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is because then what will happen is that I'm incentivizing y'all to sit on your points until it reaches like critical mass, and then you just completely destroy my butt. Like I'll have 1,500 squats or some nonsense. Like, so I want y'all to not feel like you should hoard. I just used that instead of saving up for a recommended new emote. Okay. Well, what I can do, hold on. Let's see here. I know, let's see. I thought there was something that I can do on my end. I know I can do it on... Let's see here. It was push-ups and squats. Where is it? Manage alerts. No. Review requests. Here it goes. Here it is. It was do squats from... Boom, 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 boom. Okay, where are you? All right, silly. I reject your squat, so you should get those points back. And then... Boom, boom, boom. I reject your other ones. Okay, let me know if that worked. Did you get your points back? Apparently. Hell yeah! I can just say no. Here. I'll show you. So, on Twitch, there is a manage channel point thing in review requests, and I can accept or deny requests. And I can make it so it auto accepts it, right? But I don't have auto accept for anything that I do. So if you're just like, if you spend a crap ton of things on stuff, but also this also tells me like what y'all spend most of your things on. So I like seeing the requests and being like, okay, what is it that people enjoy doing most? And then, so like Pet Mama Dodo is the most, unsurprisingly. Too busy at the moment. This whole day I was just putting fires out. Bro, tell me about it.
The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues.
And then the sound alerts are its own other separate thing. Okay. Boop. Anyway, so I got your points back. But like it's still adding 2 for push-ups, 2 for squats, 5 for crutches. So it still builds, but the increase per month is whenever we go on ad break. That's what it increases it by 1 increment every month. Hell yeah, Alice, welcome. Welcome to the land of the living. Ooh. Scary. Life. Ooh. Stress. Ooh. Taxes. Ooh. I ate a crap ton of lunch for the first time in ever. Well, hopefully it was. This is why you don't starve yourself. You eat so much. It's a binge. It's a binge purge. I'm glad you ate food. I'm really glad you ate food. Hopefully you didn't eat too much food. Well, I need an hour in order to wake up. Personally, Alice, I'm not functioning when I get up. I don't even do taxes and I stress over it. Listen, as far as my opinion for taxes, this is my opinion for taxes. This is unfortunately getting a little political and I apologize. But I am fine with taxes as long as they are going to helping people and infrastructure. That's all I'll say about it. Down 2 boxes of flavored water, down a giant ham sandwich, and ate a waffle. Ham sandwich and a waffle. You wanted that sweet and savory. You wanted that chicken waffle wombo combo. You know what I'm saying? You want that meat, you want that syrup. And I tell you what. What, chicken and waffle? Because chicken and waffles, hey, like the sweet and savory combo. I'm more of a savory person than a sweet person personally. I'm not huge on like super sweet stuff. All right, hell yeah, Alice. Let me know what you end up eating. But here's a question. Waffles or pancakes? Well, which is better? You're go for it. Pancakes? Really? Why pancakes? Say, I'm a waffle guy. Choose not to complain about the phone delay on your because my computer's way worse and I don't know how. That's crazy. Homemade food. My sister and auntie made food when it came to their house. Oh, that's awesome for you, Dragon. That's so good. Pancakes, because the homemade ones I make are peak. Well, what'd you put in it? I wouldn't go so far as pancakes are gross. I feel like you just had bad pancakes. Usually when people are like, oh, this delicious thing is disgusting, and it's just like, what? And then they look at the thing that they've had before and it's like undercooked or burnt or like not made correctly, and it's just like, well, no wonder. I have a friend who hated toast. Like toast. And I'm like, how do you hate toast? It's like some of the best things on the planet. Like, what are you talking about? And then he was just like, well, my dad only made burnt toast. And I'm like, oh, then you just don't like burnt toast. That's understandable. That's like, I hate popcorn. And it's like, because it's smoky and black and it tastes bad. It's like, well, yeah. Have you tried it without it being burnt? It's pretty good. Oh gosh, too sweet. Yeah, no, I'm not a sweet guy. Like a little bit of butter, not a little bit of butter, a good amount of butter and some syrup goes a long way, which is why I like waffles, because they have like all that flavor gets like condensed in those little holes. Oh, forget about it. Ate some homemade egg and bacon at my sister's, a large bowl of vegetable stew at my auntie. Dude, you're living like a king. Aren't the pancakes and waffles just the same thing? Like you use the same stuff? It's essentially, yes, but they're made differently. It's a different way of prepping, right? The pancakes were perfect. I just hated them. Really? That's weird. Oh, you don't like fluffy texture? I destroy my toast in jam sometimes, so I can't. Listen, butter jam toast is pretty. I prefer jam butter jam biscuits. Biscuits? Oh, that's some good shit. I'm gonna use my toaster and then I'm gonna blow your mind to that toaster guy. Yeah, for real. Like, not honestly, not even. Just broil in an oven. 4 minutes works wonders. That's all you really need. Fluffy's not good. Okay. If you don't like fluffy, I can understand why pancakes isn't the thing. Fluffy, to me, I like fluffy. Alice's worst nightmare is those little marshmallow ducks. It's like, no, please, anything but that, please, no. I'll tell you where they are. Please, just not another marshmallow. You just take it your sweet old time. Yeah, it's just Unity, baby. Oh, you didn't need the CPU, did you? You didn't need all this memory, right? I don't remember if Unity takes a lot of stuff, but still funny joke. I lost my love for sweetness over time. I mean, yeah. That doesn't eat lunch. I'm just not hungry at lunch, and I'm not hungry at dinner sometimes. I mean, you should still eat a little bit of something, Star. But I guess it depends what you're eating for breakfast. Yeah, I bet you hate Peeps, Alice. You don't like soft things. Mama Dodo is a Peeps is Alice's enemy. Oh, should we have a Mama Dodo Peeps redeem for a new costume? Alice just screams in fear. I went 4 days last week with absolutely nothing but 2 bowls of noodles. That's wild, silly. Please eat your food. Says the guy who had a bowl of popcorn and a Mountain Dew for lunch. So probably don't have a leg to stand on. But you know what? Neither does Mama Dodo. So, tit for tat, I suppose. Do you hate me? No, I don't hate you. Unless you're talking to Dragon, in which I can't speak, but I don't get the vibe they hate you. Shaking my head. Well, just because you give us food doesn't mean we're gonna eat it. Granted, I would. I would at least try it. Which is, I guess, like, pretty much signaling, like, poison me. Nothing for lunch and breakfast for the past week? Yeah. Guys, please eat a little, even if it's just a little something. Even if it's just like vitamins or something. Like, please eat food. Look, I think eating can suck. Don't get me wrong, eating can suck. But like we've been over this. It's about learning how to properly cook so you can cook the food that you like to eat, that you enjoy eating, right? Relatively healthy habit if there's any consolation. Well, I'm good. I'm glad. I know how you don't want to hear this, but I'm stuck. No! Star! Can we get an F in chat? Can we get an F for Star? Star. I can still hear his voice like he's here with us. My medicine used to kill my appetite. Yeah, like medicine can do that. Well, there's a lot of things that kill your appetite. None of them are good. It's never a good sign that your appetite's gone. For me personally, I have a heavy appetite. Okay, we're gonna, listen, at this point, the first cutoff of game dev is just gonna be the first ad break. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna say I'm a foodie. I'm not a foodie. I'm way too picky to be a foodie. But I eat a lot. I consume a lot of food, and because of that, one of the first signs for me when I'm sick, when I'm not well, is my appetite disappears. And the first sign of that I'm getting better is my appetite comes back. Like for me, it's an indicator of health. It is my appetite. If I know I'm way overstressed, if I know I'm not okay, if I'm like fight or flight mode, my appetite goes away too. So like it's just kind of one of those things where I have to kind of keep an eye on. It's like, man, I haven't eaten a lot, and I'm not hungry. It's like, oh, something, I'm not taking care of myself properly, or like I might be getting sick. So, but everyone's different. But for me, food is an indicating symptom. Okay. All right. We're gonna go on break. Y'all are gonna stretch. Y'all are gonna take a little bit of a snack. Y'all are going to hopefully be rescued from the bathroom. And I will see y'all in 3 minutes. And I'm gonna try to do this new update. Oh God, there's so many. Okay. Oh, 34? 34? Oh no. Oh no. The redeem didn't fix it. Oh, I'm so screwed. I'm gonna need a moment. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Oh my god. Is it molten lava or frozen tundra? It's never the right temp. Paper towel. Well, that's good. Okay. Melted with ad blocker, apparently. Oh. Interesting. Oh. Excuse me, sorry. Just me breathing into the mic super heavy. Welcome to ASMR. Hey. Don't make fun of me. I didn't see you do 65 crunches. Huh? How about y'all do the workouts with me? Yeah, that's what I thought. Y'all don't have the gall. So? I took PE. That stuff's a joke. Please no. A lot of times I cut them out of the VODs. I did 100 squats. That's good. I think technically we're reaching a point now where we are doing 100 squats a day. Bruh. Really? No. I guess this is a bad time to remind y'all about the unique bit redeems for workouts that I made. It was like every number where it's like 169, where it ends with 69, it adds a full set of each. And it's like up to like $100. We'll just make it so I do like 1,000. At that point, it would just be an exercise stream. More so than that one, oh gosh. Honestly, I think that's why some people don't collab with me anymore. When we don't do any more collabs is because the shared workout destroyed them. It was really funny though. I was using ChatGPT when I am debugging my code. Is that a good thing? Or would it be better to do it manually? Describe the process to me. My gut says it's bad, but because I think ChatGPT introduces bad things to the code, potentially. But it depends on the way you go about it, I think. I'm going to send over $100 to Dodo to show I can make a very clear financial decisions. We are not going to have another financial stream. I refuse. Save your damn money. I'm going to put it as a permanent effing thing that I could toggle on and off, that I'm going to flag. Or I'm going to make it like a sound alert that whenever someone gives me money, it's me saying 50 in saving, or like it was like 50 in bills, 30 in savings, and 20 on random. Do not spend your money here. So how do you use Blender? Think of it as like shaping clay. Blender is like shaping clay, except it's less messy. It is a bit simple. It is usually asking the prompt what I want it to do and asking where it could be. And then I use the code it uses and see if it works. Let's put it this way. I think it's decent as a jumping off point. Don't ever use it as a final product. Use it as like, oh, it works. Then figure out why it works. Try to understand how it got to those answers, and then do proper research to then kind of like quality assure what has been put out there makes sense and there isn't just random nonsense thrown in. Because even if it does technically work, it's kind of like you have the spaghetti on the plate before you could unravel it, right? Donate $1 million. Well, if you're going to do that, don't do it through Twitch. What if you're like 30,000 bits right now? No, that's so much money. At least that's how I would approach it, Dragon. See, personally, I still haven't used ChatGPT for any of my code. I've been utilizing more towards the base Godot, like, they actually have like a thing that I could search through, as well as utilizing Reddit for people saying stuff. But technically, is that much different than ChatGPT? I don't know. I really don't. But I like more hands-on. Listen. I thought we had an agreement. If you're gonna spend money, it's on merch. It's not on bits. It's not on it's either gonna be merch or it's gonna be memberships. All right? Because if you're going to give me money, at the very least, I would want you to be like, I'm gonna give you the most money in which goes into your pocket. Oh my gosh. And besides, save that money to find yourself a new therapist. Oh shit, you can do that. Don't do that though. Save your money. I want like a special thing for people who gift subs though, because I think that's really like, I don't know, there's something about it better. Stop it. Take care of yourself, please. Please. The last thing I want is for you to spend all that money and then you have the talk with your parents or anyone who's handling your money. It is just like, what are you doing? What do you mean you spent it on a Dodo on the internet? What do you mean? Oh gosh. Oh. No, gifting subs gives anyone who follows me subs. It's not anyone who is currently in chat. It's anyone who follows my channel or potentially can be gifted subs. So like random people who like did not have anything to do with what like, or hasn't come into this channel for like 6 months may get a sub. Or I think you could give subs directly to people. You can also do that. To be 100% honest, I'm not super on the up and up on Twitch stuff. Yeah. Oh, real? Is it people like who are watching? You explain. Why did you spin over on a purple Paleo mask until you're sick of the head? You don't understand, Dad. You don't get it. He's like really supportive. He's like, well, if he's supportive, then you know, maybe. Weird. That's odd. That's odd. Well, he's like, you don't understand, but it's a Dodo. It's the last one. It's like, prove it. Did you see the picture? That would be really funny, like a hyper-realistic Dodo just sitting at a chair with a stream set up, being like, "This is how did someone get this picture of me in real life?" Is an AI photo gonna convince my mom? No. You know what? Actually, that's really funny. One of the few times utilizing AI photos I might actually kind of agree with. Tricking parents into believing this is real. Oh no. Do you think they would be able to tell the difference? What is the age group? Because obviously older people struggle with recognizing AI art. Where is the line, do you think? Like age-wise, before you just can't tell anymore? I'm thinking like 50s. 50s is what I'm thinking. Your parents are gonna think you are in a cult. I mean, are they wrong though? We've kind of covered this already. Specifically, I would like to point out on the teen ESRB on the top left screen, the number 3 remark is cult-like tendencies. You were warned. You were warned ahead of time. Cult-like tendencies would occur. To anyone watching, this is a thing that could happen more often than you think it is. Can I at least leave the basement? Yeah, I'm not making you stay down there. The door's not even locked. Did you check the doorknob? Have you seen modern AI art? It is no longer even convincing anymore. Bro, I don't... Listen, as somebody who is actually super excited... That's silly. Someone who was actually excited about AI and its usefulness in the workplace, the direction it's gone, it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing it's going down the way it has. Replacing art and music? Bro, I want AI to do my damn taxes and make sure I don't miss appointments. And like does my laundry. Like I like the things, cleans my room. That's what I want. I want like a thing where it's like, I don't gotta worry about the small stuff. I don't gotta worry about the small tediancies of day-to-day life. I can focus on what I want and what I can, and then AI takes care of all the other shit. With counterfeit that looks real. You think a Clash Blender? That checks out. Blender, as far as I'm aware, is a bit, yeah. Last call scenario idea. Okay, Dragon, thank you. We are now realigning our chakras. I don't know why I said that. That feels inappropriate. Why do I feel like that's going to be a soundbite? A bit personal, but it's basically that the mimic is taking shape of a good-looking man who actually takes care of his wife. Like he genuinely knows that human tick through kind of gestures and gifts, more materialistic than he would be, but that is what she loves. When we interact with her boyfriend, he has found that he is in secret attacking the rest of the residents and feed on them when hungry. Interesting. Interesting. Duolingo did go the AI route, but that's also just like a marketing ploy, probably. Anyway, Dragon, I like that idea. That reminds me, were you here when we discussed marriage counseling? When we talked about that? Because you will try to deny the fact that she is a mimic. Well, okay, so first I will point out a couple things. First, I like where your head's at. I like how they I like how it's like, oh, it's a bunch of people defending a mimic. I really like that idea. I also like the idea of this kind of like a long con kind of deal, but there's a bit of a problem in that all these things that are leading up to this moment happen in one night. That doesn't give enough time for there to be a slow building of a trusting relationship, unfortunately. So I love the idea, but with the circumstances at hand, I don't think it pans out. However, what I will say is that, kind of touching on that, we came up with an event called marriage counseling, in which a husband gets killed while he was going into the bathroom, and the wife is on the outside of the door, and they've pretty much like had a very rough marriage up to this point. And they essentially, she's kind of like they're about to recovering from like a fight or something, or they're about to have a fight. But the mimic treats her better than her husband did, like through the other side of the door, and like responded and was caring and empathetic and all that other kind of stuff. And so she thinks it's like, oh, he's turning a new leaf. He's finally understanding that what he's doing wrong. Maybe we can make this work. And at the very end of like this moment where they reconciliation and they feel like they can move on, she opens the door to a mimic and the mimic kills her. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but to me that's really funny. I'm just like, oh my god, Harold, you really care. You really care. Opens, giant teeth, just comes in and just... It's just like, you fell in love with a mimic. You had no idea. She had no clue that it's like, oh yeah, no, and I like the implication that that the monster treated her better than the human that treated her. Right? I like that little play. It's so like, let's just go down a little bit of the list here. This is what we have as far as random encounters that, again, to emphasize, we would only see the after effects of, in which then the police would be describing it to some degree, right? In the case of the wife in the marriage counseling, it could be to the point of like, maybe she was trying to record the conversation so that she could bring it to her divorce lawyer, proving that the divorce is necessary. Like, we could play around with it, right? So it's like, oh, okay, if we want a little bit more detail, then we can play through these, like, why would they be recording it, right? If this is going to be a horror game, make sure she doesn't die suddenly. Make sure you feel the pain from the obvious consumption, but despair. I think it's going to be similar to, like, it's just like, Harold, you really care. Opens the door and then just scream and then nothing. I don't think we will go through. I don't know. Here's the thing, Dragon. We don't want every situation to be a negative experience, because that's going to create fatigue. We want levity in this game. Bold of you to assume that you could pierce through the hide of the miasma. We want levity. That levity could be in the form of you being correct in saving people, so you have the feeling of empowerment. But I plan on using either moments of kind of like warmth and love, and moments of humor. Probably more emphasis on humor, because I am a person who aligns themselves with the idea of balancing between three important aspects when it comes to horror, and that is the feeling of fear, like the tensity. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not horror. There's a specific term to it. It's that tense moment, right? It's the build up of tension. So there's that aspect where it's actually the horror aspect to it, and then you have the aspect of humor, right? Of levity, of joking around, but then you also have moments of awe. And moments of awe is beauty. It's seeing these moments of, you'll see a landscape and it has like this weird kind of like it's just a dark form of beauty to it. And I think that if you play all three in an interchanging in a healthy, balanced way, that's how you make a truly amazing experience. Because each one has its own like curve, if that's the case. The curve is like, so I'll get to your responses in a second. I just want to get the thought out before I forget it and get distracted. So horror is very impactful in kind of like the middle is kind of like where I put it. And where it's like you have this build up and then you have this build up, but if you build it up for too long, it stagnates. Awe has a very upfront feeling, but you get used to it really quickly. And then humor has more of kind of like a late bit to it. So it's like you want to have more awe than horror and then humor to kind of offset it all, and then you repeat. I don't know how we're going to implement awe in this game, but in my mind, the feeling of like the good feelings of like happiness, being correct, etc., it will be kind of in place of awe, at least for now, because there isn't really any visual way of doing that. Confusing considering the fact you don't really save anyone. You did say that everyone, prognosis ambiguous but included, doesn't make it. Yes. So just because everyone is going to die doesn't mean you won't have moments of happiness of saving somebody. If you save somebody, that feels good. If there could be conversations in moments within this time where it's very heartwarming. Sure, in the end they don't make it, but that doesn't negate or nullify the beauty of that moment, right? Imagine the mimics are big slugs with teeth. What? Mimics are lanky, dark figures with 10,000 teeth that look terrifying. I'm not... As far as mimics go, there is no indication of what they look like. Y'all are welcome to think however you want what these mimics look like, but I am not going to give any indication of what these things look like at all, because I want to see what y'all come up with. Well, I don't like how they look like, but how else would they eat leaves? What? Oh, slugs. Okay. They're acid snail slime. Like, they're like fungus. They just excrete digestive enzymes, and they're just like, mush. My favorite. So anyway, I got really distracted. The mini narratives. We have Cat Lady, who thinks she's taking care of cats that are actually just a house full of mimics. Marriage counseling. Couple reconciles, not realizing that one of them had turned into a mimic the entire time. Man in the street. A person is walking throughout the street, telling people to not come close to him, and anyone who does come close to the wounded man in the street immediately get ambushed by the mimics and die. Not from around here. Someone in town that is has a very heavy accent and is from a different country is immediately blamed and or for the things that are happening. Sorry. This is one where I wanted a recording of an attack of where the mimic is muttering sorry over and over again, because I like that feeling. I want to create that idea of like, oh, do these things know what they're doing, and do these things regret what they're doing, or is it just them mimicking the word sorry over and over again? It's like, do they understand what they're saying? And I wanted, this was kind of inspired by and I apologize, this might be triggering for some, but you know how you have people who are abusers in a relationship that they apologize right after abusing their partner? I kind of wanted to give that kind of feeling to it, where it's just like a lashing out and killing of this person, and then there's this mimic is just apologizing over and over and over and over again, but you don't know if that's real or not. The boy who befriended the monster, a kid who the mimic broke into his room, didn't freak out, thought they befriended the monster, the mimic. The mimic's just kind of not killing him. The boy brings his new friend to show to his parents with mimic in tow. Parents freak out, mimic kills everybody in reflex, and goes to show that just because you can befriend a monster doesn't mean you should. Not home, a situation where the wife talks to a husband who's in the kitchen, and we hear them in the kitchen, and then they get the call from their husband saying that they'll be home soon. Then who's in the kitchen? And then finding out that this thing was actually mimicking the sound of plates being put away. And then as soon as she comes around the corner into the kitchen, she gets ambushed. The cultist, the man who was trying to, in an attempt to appease these mimics, sabotage other people's houses in exchange for his own life, and eventually gets to a point where it becomes borderline cult's behavior and wanting to become one of them and survive in that way. And then finally we have the puppet, in which the mimic actually uses ventriloquism to make it sound like the boy got sick, and then when the parents come over to check on the kid, realizes that the mimic had been holding up the boy the whole time and ambushes her from the ceiling. That's what we have as far as random encounters so far. Once we get into the actual script writing, we'll be able to really flush this out, but these are just ideas that we've had so far up to this point. More media news: a not very good carer has unalived their wife while he's restraining order, and he has unalived himself afterward. Yeah. He so it's a lot of interesting, diverse ways that we can represent this situation that kind of really paints a picture of like the different kind of ways. Well, I mean, it's enough for right now. But if we're going to make a whole game out of it, we're going to need a lot more. But the whole reason that we're even in this tab in the first place is to look at this. Have certain narratives be usable for places when the previous house attacked is closer versus farther away. Wait and stalk versus charge in and attack. So the idea behind this is, do we want to introduce a slightly different introduction of these mimics to a house, depending if it is almost like we give the impression that this thing's in a hurry and is now panicking, or is it taking and biding its time? And we would indicate that via like how much time it takes for it to spread to a new area, right? I'm thinking that though interesting, I'm not thinking that it adds. I'm thinking it adds too much variability and or not enough. Is it like the order of the same houses matter? No, but different houses will have different effects on the world. So a good way of putting this, let me show you. So if we look, right, if we look at this, not all houses are created equal. There is like, we're going to introduce kind of like a imposter spread resistance stat, if that makes any sense. Think of it like armor stat in video games, where certain buildings give the nearby houses a buff of not being chosen for a spread. So as long as the school is here, these houses won't get chosen. As long as these are here, these houses won't be chosen, right? And as these go away, suddenly this creates a vulnerability for this location. Kind of like a form of house priority, but in the sense of like, we want to create almost like physical barriers, especially when it's random within a circle, that we're going to be increasing the circle accordingly. We don't want just the first house to jump over here, because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If suddenly it just shoots, like if it's here and then it goes to this house, why didn't this or this get caught first, right? We want it to make sense that it seems like it's going through a trail, right? It's going through, but we also don't want it where it's just like, just go to the nearest area, because then it becomes predictable. We don't want it to be predictable. We want you to always kind of suspect that the person on the other end of the phone may not be human. If it's predictable and it doesn't align with your prediction, then you're just going to auto assume it's a human. And then there is no thinking about it, right? Which is a problem. So, what we decided yesterday, what we decided yesterday, not yesterday, sorry, 2 weeks ago, the last time we did this, was that we weren't going to leave gaps on the imposter spread. Specifically, when we, let's see if we can do it. When we go about doing this, you see all these gaps? See all these houses here? We're going to keep going until it stops. Boom. It's done. It had its own unique trail, right? We like that. We like that. But now we have these houses in this location, in this location, in this location, in this location. And like the whole point is that we kind of want it to go in the direction of the bottom right, because this is where we are. This is where the character is. This should be the very last thing chosen, right? And so it kind of, we want a slightly general direction over here. We already kind of accomplished this by having it being on the top left. It kind of creates a natural inclination to move to the other side. We are at the farthest point on the map, so we would be the statistically speaking, least likely chosen until the very end. But we can make some resistances to make sure that happens, etc. But the point is we discussed as far as, do we want to keep these houses? Do we want to make sure that like I was like, do we want to introduce narrative reasons why they skip the houses? Do we want people to live? Do we want to change the narrative a little bit? Like really exploring the idea of, is this a bug or is this a feature? Because if it's a feature, then we don't need to fix it, right? And there's no point spending time on something trying to fix something that we're going to want to implement in the first place. Is there different types of mimics? Not really. For the most part, they're pretty much all going to be the same. It's just they learn, the longer they stay, the more they learn. And so their behavior becomes different, and their voices become more and more convincing, and their actions become more and more convincing. But as far as just like, there's a long-range mimic, and a short-range mimic, and a mimic with a sword, and a mimic with a shield, and mimic like, no, none of those. Where it's just like a mimic with a big mouth and a mimic with long arms. Like, there's nothing kind of like in this the feeling, or at least I don't want to give the feeling that there's different. Yeah, a mimic with a gun. Oh my God, he's got a gun. Like a mimic with a box cutter. Like there's not gonna be little situations like that where we might want to explore the idea of, can this thing RPG? We can explore the idea of like, could it use tools? Can it hold an item? But I think we're going to still try to go away from that, because that gives the inclination or the feeling that this thing does have hands. And again, I don't want to give the impression that what these things look like, right? We're going to avoid it as much as we can. If it becomes too much of a headache, then I'll just give up on the idea. But for now, I want to see if I can try to make it work. Mimic with Mama Dodo being held like a minigun. shoots out smaller mama dodos, who then become mimics. Because I'm thinking about a mimic that can mimic animal voices. The mimics are going to be able to mimic people. They are going to be able to mimic sounds. They're also going to be able to mimic animals. So they can mimic sounds in general. But by mimic sounds, I mean like cabinets opening, dishes breaking, like dogs barking, birds chirping, doors opening, windows closing, like any sound bit that exists, these things would be able to duplicate as long as they have experienced it. Because I like that idea of it's utilizing and abusing like sound cues. There's one in mind that I like the idea of, which it mimics the floorboards creaking. Like, that was the original idea for the ventriloquist mimic, was their ability, if they could use ventriloquism, they could make it sound like the floorboards creaking when it's not there. But it could still kind of do that, whereas just like it would just sound like the floorboards creaking. They would assume that they are at a certain point because they know which spot is the part that creaks. The person tries to leave the room only to find that it was waiting for them to do so, right? A mimic that can basically look like a child, like, you know, the demons show up and the children, they're not what they mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. But again, I don't think I'm gonna have them look like people. Or not. These things, like, from the reactions that I want to give, it's not like they open the door being like, oh, hey Mark, how are you doing? Oh, what big teeth you have, and then gets eaten. Like, no, they open the door and they're like, you're not Mark, and then immediately dies, right? Like, the sound is convincing, the visual is not. Like, the only thing that I pretty much want to confirm, at least visually speaking, is these things don't look human. Or if they look human-ish, they don't look convincing enough to be human, right? They're off. They're definitely off enough that you can immediately tell that this is not a person in any kind of, like, normal way. Different variants of mimics, like, it would be add more types of gameplay. That's true. You're not wrong. We'll see. So, as far as I'd say they look the exact same, yet there's noticeable flaws. Maybe. You're welcome to think of whatever you want. You could even, like, if you want to think of them as, like, kids and variances and stuff like that, you're more than welcome to. But I am not going to move forward with trying to make that distinction in the gameplay. But because we decided that these gaps are going to be replaced, we are going to move forward with, where is our brainstorm. I need to sort this better. Imposter system? Nope. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. Broadcast emergency Easter eggs, possible ads. Seriously though, where is it? Mimic spread. There it is. Thank God. The spread of different distances will help clear the gaps, because then once they reach this corner, if there's a bigger circle, they would be able to move towards that bigger circle, right? As well as the game moves forward, we introduce more mimics. But I don't want to give that. We want it to be vague enough where the people playing it don't know if there's more or not, right? This one, but I was thinking if a mimic that is blind, you can only hear if someone made noise, and if they're already like that. No, they're not blind. They need to observe and hear their prey, so they're not blind. I'm not gonna confirm how well their eyes work, but I mean, they could be. If what you think these things look blind and they based off sound, go for it. I don't think I'm gonna have any indication that they are or are not blind. Only that they mimic sounds and they ambush. So, yeah. But I think before we tackle this aspect, where I guess what we will do is that we will do the potential spread first, related to the difficulty. And then not all locations are equal. Then we'll add like a resistance to it. But before that, I want to finish out our idea on the coworker for the ride or die. So last time we were going over the idea of what possible reason the ride or die coworker stays. And for those that have no idea what I'm talking about, you have 4 coworkers, right? You have 4. The 4 coworkers, the first one leaves almost immediately when shit goes bad because it's just a job. You have the person that, hold on, let's see here. Can I like delete? No, perfect. The second one leaves after their child calls them saying someone broke in. The third one is an ex-cop that once your cops get down too low, you will lose a coworker, but at the same time you'll gain a police like a additional resource. This one is the one that is like, if we were going to replace any of them, it would be this one. I'm not convinced. And then you have the ride or die. As time moves on, you lose coworkers, except for this one. This one stays until the very end of the game. And then, once everything is gone, essentially, once this has gotten to the point where you can't keep up with calls, you can't stop the spread happening, everyone is dying, there's kind of like a solemn acceptance that you're no longer in control and there's nothing you can do about it. That's when the game really just knocks it up a notch. And now we switch to a more narrative of how these people are responding to that. And this in that aspect, it was like the ride or die leaves to go to the bathroom, and you hear them make a call to their loved ones saying goodbye. And you hear them have that like really solemn moment where they have that last conversation. And what you don't know is that after that phone call ends, they get ambushed in the bathroom and get replaced. And the game kind of continues on, and you still have conversations with them until the very, very, very end, where it's revealed that he was replaced at some point, and you don't know when. And I'm not going to give any indication that that was when it was happened. It was in the bathroom, but that's kind of when I'm putting the thing in of that, right? I'm thinking the mimics are kind of like carry-on, but they basically go inside a human body. Once manipulated, someone get inside, they burst out. Kind of giving the Thing vibes. They could be doing the chest burster. Yeah, Alien, let's go. Alien and the Thing combination. Love it. But the point is, we need to give a reason why this ride or die stays. It can't be just nothing. This person stayed until they died. Like, the main character, we also have to have a good reason the main character stays too. But the way I've painted it is that the main character stays until the end because they are physically unable to leave. That they are in there from the hospital in a wheelchair, which is why you don't get to leave your desk. You don't get to leave the computer the entire time. And the reason that you are essentially stuck there and you can't move and you can't go to anywhere else is because essentially you are incapable of leaving. So it's not like you didn't want to leave, it's just that you can't leave. You are unable to physically leave. So, yeah, I saw that, Alice. It was so cool. I'm just thinking like infection thing. Hell yeah. I mean, that's cool as hell. And again, you're welcome to come up with any idea that you want for what these things are and how they spread and everything. But, but so the reasons that we came up with last time was a combination, was like one of 3. And then I think I'm potentially going to go a little bit into each. No, you're fine. Taking pictures of moons is usually a notoriously difficult thing to do to make look good. So you're fine. Was like an elder brother to the protagonist, a person that assures you while you're on the job they look up to you. He was the one that wanted to make you an operator, and his own brother is not only tied by blood, but the dedication and respect of seeing his younger sibling following in his footpath. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's add that. Let's add that here. Because he is the elder brother to the protagonist. Let's explore this. Let's explore this. Because you've... Protagonist. I could spell. Shush. I like this idea. I kind of like it. Let's explore it. Because the original idea was main character goes to hospital, returns to work from hospital, being dropped off by a family member. In this case, it could be the older brother. Dropped off by the family member, and then family member returns to house after being dropped off, then later gets a call from their home with a level 1 mimic talking in their family member's voice. Game begins. Like, that was how I wanted the how it was going to be introduced and how we move forward. It was like, that was weird. And then now the spread has started. Now your house, which is the house, the beginning house is your house, the main character's house. So I was having the family member that they were going to be attacked here, and then spread from there, right? That was the beginning of it all. But this is the OG story. But if we exploring elder brother is ride or die story. Okay, so let's explore this. Main character goes to the hospital. Returns. Big brother takes her to work with him. Takes her to work with him as they both work there. Right? So now there's no one at the house. So how do we give the indication that a mimic, like when the game's starting on the top left, how do you know when the house gets taken over? How do you know when that place gets removed? Well, a family member doesn't need to be Big Brother. What if instead of a brother, what if they're taking care of their mom? Is one they call them at the hospital? Maybe told later in the game that he saved the protagonist when the outbreak started. As far as what do you mean by when the outbreak started? As in, like, they were on ground zero? Or are we talking about when she was hospitalized? Because as far as the hospitalization is concerned, I'm keeping that purposely in the dark for the most part, where she got hospitalized from some kind of camping accident in which she was brought to the hospital. But I haven't gone into the details as far as who brought her to the hospital. No, I think it would have been her older brother. It probably would have been her older brother. If we're going to go down the older brother route, I was planning for the older brother being the one who was at the house and then, bring that. But, that makes a lot of sense. The familiar aspect, I'm surprised I didn't even think of it. I assume hospitalized, but if it's purposely in the dark, it's fine. I assume that he was the 911 operator he called in the camping accident. Well, the hospitalization, in case I wasn't clear, Dragon, she was hospitalized at a nearby small town. A very, very small, like, they already live in a small town. This is like a smaller adjacent, like, camping, like, they have, like, Appalachian Mountains camp, like, their main flow are people coming to camp in the Appalachian Mountains, but it's a very, very, very small town where she was then hospitalized, quote unquote. So it wasn't really like a hospital. It was like borderline townhouse with a doctor in it, right? And then was taken from that smaller town to where the main game is happening now. But that smaller town is what the demo is going to be. The demo is going to be of that experience of after they leave go back after the hospitalization. That smaller town gets attacked and overwhelmed as soon as they leave, right? So the main character and the person who picks them up have no idea what's happening until like well into the beginning of this game. They have no idea what happened to the old town that they just came from. They have no idea what's happening for a good portion of this game while things are going weird, and that leaves open the idea of like other weird. We could introduce like potential other explanations, right? Because I want to move forward with the idea of old god forests, these creatures that have always existed, why you don't whistle back in the night, why you don't listen to the voices of loved ones behind the trees, like that kind of vibe. I love that kind of vibe, and that's the kind of horror I'm leaning into. But I also want to leave it open for people to be like, what if that wasn't really what happened? What if that's not really what these things are? What if they're insert something here, right? So that's why I'm purposely trying to be vague. I'm purposely trying to leave enough space where people could fill in their own little theories and stuff, because that's what kind of makes it fun. If I explain literally everything, then that makes it, though an interesting story, it falls. I want it to have a life of its own a bit. You want us to theorize? Yeah, exactly. I want you to theorize, and I want to leave enough room and flexibility and enough crumbs to satiate, but to at least give people where it's just like, oh, we're on there. You're gonna be covered on the game theory, bro. If I get that's peak. If I get covered by game theory, I am going to lose my fucking mind. That I've made it. I would celebrate that. I would be like, guys, I was on game theory. They were, and then I could be like, they were right or they were wrong. Something tells me they would love this game though. This does seem up their alley. But it's just, and then of course I could just be like, well, if y'all want the answers, I have the VODs. And I proceed to give them 100 VODs. Like, by the time I finish this game, it's going to be on episode 100. But yeah, no, like the idea, I like the idea. I like the idea if it's an older brother, because we explored the idea of, we were considering that they were romantically involved. We were exploring that they are a manager and didn't want to leave a person to die for their chance to live. And we wanted to explore that this is actually a guy who was very like virtuous and is just like, oh, it is my responsibility to stay here. I should be the last one to go down with the ship. Everyone else should leave, right? And then I ended up moving forward with the idea of there was a rumor that they were hooking up, but not officially hooking up. And it was a manager who wanted to leave, but wasn't able to move beyond the guilt of leaving someone behind to die. Like, he was afraid of dying. He doesn't want to die. But the idea of him leaving someone else behind to die was more than his fear. His guilt was greater than his fear. So he stayed. And so that was the kind of direction that I was kind of moving towards, was this manager that was just a good person and just didn't want to leave someone behind. But the idea that this is an older brother is interesting. Because now, let's see, I kind of got chills a little bit. So now we have another reason why the main character doesn't leave. The older brother wouldn't let her leave, stating it's too dangerous to go outside. She can't even run. How is she going to survive what's happening? If normal people who are able to run aren't making it out. There's no way I'm letting you out of this building. Which is a very interesting perspective, because now he's freaking out. Now he's really defensive, right? Now he's very protective. And then we can create interesting situations, interesting conversations, where now the coworkers are saying, like, why are you, stop being so damn biased here. Stop only caring for your sister. All of our lives are at stake here, right? So now we have like these tense moments, these friction moments and topics where now you have like an older brother trying to protect his sister while also trying to be professional and help people, which is a very real and interesting story to explore. The like how would this person react? How would this person go for it? Which is kind of cool. I think it's a really excellent perspective, Dragon. I assume that this would have a bit of slow burn effect. The protagonist and ride or die bond could be very chatty to first. Family members, then over time, the vibe of the conversation slowly mutes off with desperation receiving the rest of the folk. Well, I think there is. I don't know and don't think that their vibe would officially, like, there definitely would be a vibe shift where they're talking about family members, etc., where it's a lot more casual and then trying to save people. But at there a certain point, I think it would be interesting then to introduce a friction point between the ride or die and the main character, specifically with how they should go about it. Like, okay, cool, they both want to save as many people as possible, but they both want to do it in different ways. So now they're butting heads in this really tense situation, where it's just like, maybe she thinks that we should send an evacuation order. Everyone leave. They can't kill us all. We have to get everyone out of here as soon as possible. If we're sitting ducks if we stay. But he believes if people bunker down and they work, if we make it till morning, we'll be okay. There's a reason why they tacked at night. As long as we can get it into the morning, we'll be fine. And then it's like, so you have this conflict between two different, completely different, like strategies that they're both arguing for. That in the end, that even in this relationship breaks under pressure. Yeah, it's like, and then they can have like a moment. Remember how you were talking about how this is a horror game, like there wouldn't be moments of happiness and stuff? What if they reconcile at the end? What if at the end they know that they're on death's door and they don't want to have any regrets? And yeah, exactly. Plot twist I already said, at the end of the game, he gets replaced. So what if the reconciliation, you don't know if the reconciliation was with a mimic or with the person. You don't know. I sure as hell am not going to confirm at what point. I'm not going to say at what point he gets switched out. And it's up to the player to think whatever they want. They could be like, oh, I believe that he wasn't replaced until after the fact. Or I believe he was replaced in the beginning. What if he was always in the thing? Like, I want to introduce those doubts where it's just like, how long were they human? Were they ever human? Because you don't get to see them. Right? Random day, I expected the mimics to kill their target before actually mimicking them and just eats them or something. No, the target does kill before mimicking, for the most part. It still is able to mimic sounds and other things like that, but you can't really. Usually, it's not like it rips out their vocal cords and mimics that way. It doesn't work like that. But for the most part, if you're going to mimic somebody, you want to make sure that the person you're mimicking won't, like, come out of the shower and completely mess up your plans, right? You want them out of the picture. The reconciliation is him agreeing suddenly. The player catches on immediately and he can't do anything. They notice the sun resistance drop to know that this is a mimic. That's interesting. I don't know if I want to create... If we make it too sharp, I'm torn. I'm honestly torn, Dragon. Because on one hand, if we make it so that it's much more smooth, we create a feeling of, oh, when was he replaced? If we make it sharp, then it's obvious when he was replaced, but then you create a dread moment. A moment of dread when the character realizes that they are truly alone. And they are really the last one. And it's like a good introduction to that last little bit of the game when it's like, even your brother's gone. And you know it. And you know the person is not a person anymore. And to have that player or that character realize that themselves, they weren't realize that they've been tricked, or they were that, like, have that realization versus them not having that realization, I think is an important distinction as far as the kind of story we want the main character to go through. Because I know at some point she will realize, but I don't want my first gut instinct is I don't want it obvious, because then people will know. They don't have to guess, right? They know when they got switched because it's obvious. But if we can make it sharp, then we can play with the main character being like, oh no, you aren't who you are anymore. And have that moment of that you feel your stomach drop and you're just like, oh no, right? But I like it. We need to go to ads, so get some water, get some food if you haven't eaten. Do some workout with me if you want. Why not? Ha ha ha! You're just in time. You fool! You foolish fool! Hello, welcome back. Alright, so if the brother is at the job... Oh, listen. Only one of us is allowed to make dad jokes. And that's me. You want to have a dad off? I don't think you want this. I also have 2 D's in this name. Dodo. Dad? Coincidence? Dado. No, Dado. Is it a dodo? That's so dumb. Oh, man. Is it a mama dodo? It's dada dodo. Uncle. Oh, no. Toadad. Hey, Melon, how you doing? Toadad is so funny. Oh, no. I kind of want to see a dad version of Mama Dodo now. Just because it's so funny. And it just makes sense to, like, switch it. Oh, no. Anyway, describe it. Let's see. Let's see here. I feel like Dad Mama Dodo or Dad Dodo. We're gonna do Doodad just because I can't do it. A hat. I feel like he would have a hat. I'm trying to think what they have. They wouldn't have like the hair swoosh, and they wouldn't have the front fluff, or at least it would be shorter. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be a much shorter front fluff, not hair swoosh. If you want to go extra, you could make her bald or him bald, except like on the sides. Bald. Probably a different sized beak. I don't know the sexual dimorphism of dodos. Haven't really Googled it before, so I wouldn't know. And let's see here. What else would it be? Besides the hat, that's the big thing that come to mind is like a hat to cover the bald spot. Fanny pack. 100% fanny pack. That would do it. Fanny pack, a hat. Maybe different colored eyes? Maybe instead of orange, it's blue? Because that kind of checks out, right? Not in the sense that, like, blue means boy, but things of, like, other end of the color wheel for orange. I think it's purple, actually. But purple on purple, no. Not a big fan. But I think different colored eyes would also work. What else? What else would it gives like dad vibes? You know what I mean? I don't mean this in any kind of insensitive way, Mama Dodo, but I would say beer gut, but Mama Dodo kind of already has a good amount of gut, but not in any, I don't know. I feel like I'm very much insulted her. I don't mean it that way. It's just like, I can't think of adding more to it. Imagine straight up barbecue dad with bowler cap and an apron and a spatula and their flippers. That's pretty good. Yeah. That's not bad. With like Kiss the Cook apron on. Hi Dad, I'm Dodo on there or something. Oh man. Yes, please put that in like art. Put that in the art section. When you're done with it, because I want to see it. And truly changing the bottom part of the beak to be bigger as opposed to the top of the beak. Like, give him an underbite? Ooh, okay, hold on. Let me... I've been putting this off anyway. Is it right if I put it on stream or no? Underbite? Why do dads look like have an underbite to you? Is that a thing? Intro Pyro 2, then we have post. Ooh, okay. All right, you can. So let me know if I can put it up on stream, silly. If not, that's absolutely okay, fine. But let me know. Oh man, go ahead. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Look at that. I love it. It kind of gives me fish people vibes. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm thinking. You know, you picking up what I'm putting down. Yeah. Okay. Is this like a mass or something, or an arm maybe? No flaws, normal organization, normal cat. Hold on, let's see here. Eye deformation, spots, notice the skin patches, mimic cat. Okay. So like almost then like person. So something tells me, silly, that you would be the kind of person that that the kid who befriends a mimic. That's you, right? That's you? T-Rex, a kid of Kenny Mountain. Oh, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this later. 100%. I'm gonna watch that later. Oh man, that's good. You know what? That's fine. Listen, y'all are more than welcome to kind of insert yourselves in the sense of just like, that's me. That's what I would do. Like, I bet there are people out there with the cultist dude who is just like, yeah, no, I would try to appeal to these things. Are you kidding me? If it means I live, like, I'm opening other people's doors. There are people out there like that, but that's kind of the point. The point is that you see yourself in some of these characters. That's what makes a good story in my mind, is that you can relate and identify. Anyway. So if the big brother's at work, then who's at home? Yeah. For like 5 minutes. All right. We'll see you in 5 minutes, silly. Don't worry, I'm not timing you on my phone. That'd be cringe. That would be so cringe and like really stressful. And I'm certainly not hitting the timer like right now. Yeah, no. I'll see you in a bit. The dilemma question? Which dilemma question? We kind of talk about a lot of dilemma questions up in here. You gotta be specific. And because I definitely went on a long tangent before we went on the ad break, so you'll have to be a little more specific. Also, just a reminder, because my memory is doggy doo-doo as the as quoting from wow, I couldn't think of a single smart person's name. Einstein. There you go. If your actions don't have consequences, then what point does your actions have? The answer to that is the same extent as life does, which is your actions does have consequence. Your actions do change the immediate outcome, but it doesn't change the end outcome. So to put it in a different perspective, it's like saying, why do you bother being nice when everyone dies? Right? It's like, okay, well, yes, everyone is going to die eventually. And the point here is that it's less to do with trying to make it so that everyone doesn't die and more to do with how do you help these people in a way that makes it so that their death isn't as heavy, I guess is a good way of putting it. Like, not all deaths are created equal. Giving someone a chance to defend themselves, albeit like it won't change the end results, but at least they had a chance to defend themselves. At least we could even go down the route of some situations where some deaths are just worse than others. And by through your actions, you kind of alleviate the worst case scenarios, where the difference between a kid lost in a abandoned building that was like an old like coal thing that he was alone and scared and died there, versus bringing him home with his family and died with the people that he loved. In my mind, there's a difference in that. And I think there's a certain level of you teaching the life lesson of every action matters, even if it doesn't change the outcome. Even if the purpose of an action isn't always to change the outcome. Sometimes the action in of itself is the answer. You helping people at the best of your abilities in of itself is worth something, even if it falls short. And I think that's an important life lesson to have when you're surrounded or in a real life situation where you feel like you could have done more. And I think it's important that not to blame yourself in that. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. If your action don't have an action, what purpose do your action make? Was a question with the whole stream referring to the game being about saving people that do. Yeah. That's kind of it. It's learning, and it is and it isn't it, Dragon. And I apologize that this is very confusing, but the idea is that you are to kind of come up with the reason yourself. The purpose is the question, not giving an answer to said question. You know? It's you have to figure out what makes it worth it. Because that's kind of one of the big answers in people's lives in the first place. And there was a tale that I heard relatively recently, and it was a conversation between a demon and a man, and I think the man summoned the demon. Oh, don't worry, that alarm is for absolutely nothing. Between a demon and a man, and the man was asking questions as far as like, hey, it was like, what is the purpose of life? Why am I here? Why is like all this, like, why am I going through this? Why is there pain in the world? And the demon starts laughing at this man. And he's saying, what's so funny? And the demon says, I'm just learning so much about you. I'm probably butchering the story, so I apologize. And the man is asking, it's like, but you haven't answered my questions. How could you know so much about me? And he says, what speaks more of a person isn't the answer that one finds, but the questions that they ask that reveal the truth within one's soul. And if you ask if what is the purpose, then what is true is that you are doubting your existence. You are doubting why you are here. You are searching for an answer. But having that question in of itself is an answer to who you are as a person. So this game is less about what is the point and more to do with the question is what is the point? And it is up to the player to decide and come up with their own answer to that question. And it is important to know that there are answers to the question. There isn't just one. One of them, in which I explained earlier, was like the purpose of doing good in and of itself is worth something. But that doesn't mean that's going to be the only thing to take away from this. Because I'm not going to hammer that home. I'm not going to be like, this is the answer to the question of what do you do when everything is hopeless. Like, that's not the point. The point is that I've put you in a situation where you have to come up with that yourself. What do you do? What is the point? And I think by coming to that answer, and I have my own answer, which is what I gave, but coming into your own answer is figuring out who you are as a person in a real meaningful way, and something that you can take with you. And when you come across that in the future, when you've come across situations where no matter what you do, you can't change the outcome, you'll already know what you need to do or not do, depending on your response to that. And I think a lot of people would come to the conclusion of there is no point. But for me to say that's not an answer is quite frankly incorrect. It is an answer. But as discussed as far as how I feel about free will, that's your choice. It was your choice to decide that there is no answer when there's no point to it. Today's been very existential. Well, I'm glad. But that's kind of that's what I want to do for it. Yeah. No, yeah. Just don't check the VOD. Welcome back. I did get very existential though. So just saying. But I passed 3 other streams. I passed 3 other streams to get here. On foot, with toast in my mouth. Okay. Alright. So. Anyway. Moving on. Who's at the house? To each Twitch hole to get back here. What the heck? Why did you have to go down multiple rabbit holes to get here? We have a link in the Discord. What are you doing? Oh gosh. Anyway. Anyway, so who's home? If the brother's at work, how are we getting a notification? So how do we know that our house has been imposterized? Right? Or let's do has been mimicked. There you go. Get mimicked. Sorry. How do I know? What's the deal about the mimified house? So, okay, we're discussing about in the OG story, the character gets hospitalized, returns to work, gets dropped off by a family member. Family member goes back home. The game officially, quote unquote, starts when the main character gets a call from their house from a level 1 mimic. Oh wow, didn't mean to do that. A level 1 mimic pretending to be that family member. They obviously could tell something's wrong. You respond accordingly, and then the game starts, right? That's like the intro of like, uh-oh, here we go, this is it. But with Dragon's idea, where the ride or die person is actually our older brother, now we're exploring of like, oh, okay, if the elder brother also works there, then that means we need to have someone still at the house that would then still notify the main character so the game knows when to start, so the player knows that we've started the game, right? So I'm thinking there's a couple of things we could do. The first is security camera or security alarm. Someone broke into the house, right? We could just someone broke in, and then now we have a security alarm, and we have to send police accordingly to their house. We could do that. That one I'm less inclined. Would give indication that there is video evidence. Again, we want to avoid seeing these things as much as possible. So we don't want to give that there was even a possibility of that happening. So there was a second one, which is taking care of mom. So we could introduce a third party member to this household where maybe your mom could call desperately begging you not to go home. Right. That had the footage where them taken down. Maybe. Well, what we could do... Okay, hold on. Let's think this for a second. As far as the first call that comes through, let's break this down. Let's break down the first call that comes through, because maybe this will kind of clear things up. The original plan was that it was going to be a level 1 mimic that tries to trick the main character. It is also the first time that the player has a mimic encounter. Do mimics not want to illustrate their true form? Is that something they want to hide? No. I don't think they will go out of their way to prevent video evidence. I think they're intelligent, but I don't think they're that intelligent. So I think there will probably be quote unquote like old wives' tales and old things of people of the older generations who tell younger generations don't like do these things that are currently happening now, as far as like don't whistle back in the woods, don't trust the voice of your loved ones out in the trees, like that kind of thing. So there will be this feeling of people kind of know what's happening, but no one has like confirmed evidence of it. But it's not like they're going to just stand out in the open and just be like, I'm going to try to trick you even though I'm standing right in front of you, right? They're going to try to do it. I have no idea how they reproduce. But they obviously do. I don't know. To answer the question. Oh, gosh. I guess it depends on your idea of what they are and what they look like. Would depend on how that would work, right? Also, the first time that the player has a mimic encounter, So that would mean that most likely the player wouldn't know how to respond to a mimic encounter. It kind of does look like Enderman, but I like it. I mean, I also have a mental image of what these things look like, but I don't want to put that on... I don't want to contaminate people's views of them. You know what I mean? If I give out my interpretation of what these things look like, that would influence y'all's interpretation, and I don't want that. I want a complete blank slate of what people think these things look like. And most likely the player wouldn't know how to respond to a mimic encounter. So the first mimic encounter, most likely, if it's the first time, would fail at sending the correct resources. So now we've kind of introduced an interesting perspective, right? Because the first call, because the way that the tutorial is currently going, designed for, is that you are being taught how to use the system of people calling in, sending the appropriate resources, and then go about your day. Maybe if they fail the first mimic encounter, it would give them an actual chance to figure it out. Well, I think what will happen is this. I think what will happen is that you get a weird call, first mimic encounter, first time, would fail, would lose those resources, and those, they would lose those resources. And then now you're taught. It would teach you what happens when you fail. Immediately. So now you know. Right? If the first interaction failed, that would explain how the ride or die might die. Maybe. They didn't detect it and then gets to escape and know about you, then pounces at the right time. Maybe. Well, the ride or die would be at the 911 operator, no? He would be there. That by the time you get a call from the house, it wouldn't be if we're going down the brother route, where the brother is the ride or die, the ride or die wouldn't be home. It would have to be someone else. Right? But I kind of like the idea where the first one fails. You're supposed to fail. Well, I mean, you're not quote-unquote supposed to fail. You are intended to fail the first time. You know you did something wrong. You didn't do it right? So now becomes the question of, oh, if that's not the right way to do it, then what are we supposed to do? What counts as failing when wasting resources? Failing is not sending enough. If you send too much, it's still passing. It's a minimum requirement. So failing a call is sending not enough resources. As of right now, we haven't gone through the resource management. We haven't broken that down yet. That's on our list. So as of right now, this would mean not sending. Let's put it here. Parentheses, not sending an additional police car. And maybe that would have the question of, well, then what's to prevent you to just send a little extra everywhere, right? And the answer is resource management. At a certain point in the game, there will be enough calls coming in that if you send a little extra everywhere, you don't get to protect everybody. People start falling off. You won't be able to send what you need to send because you're being too careful. If you're not accurate, if you're too conservative by sending more than necessary every time, you're going to fail faster. Because the way the rate things are going to go up, you're not going to last nearly as long as you would for the person who knew what they were doing, right? That's where the balance comes in. is where you can send as much as you want. You can send everything to the first house if you want, and then hope that there isn't another call in the next like minute. Cause damn. Plus that would be kind of like a funny achievement. Send everything to one house. Would the amount of police ambulances be called based on the danger mimic itself? How many would take to deal with difficulty of mimic? It's less to do with difficulty of mimic, and it has more to do with difficulty of the situation at hand. So the tutorial of the game, or at least the beginning of the game where it teaches you like which goes to what you would send to a potential house fire, what you would send to a potential burglar, what you would send to like a family, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's like domestic abuse is different, right? If someone is stuck in a house that was like stuck in a car and they need to be broken out, like that's different. Like all these things require different combinations of things. The fact that it's a mimic means that you would still treat it like it was real, but you would have an additional police car on top of that in order to appropriately address the situation. But now that I think about it, why would you even bother? If you know it's a mimic, would getting the rest of it wrong, why would you even bother bringing a police officer if you know it's going to be a mimic situation? Not police officer, like fireman. Maybe an ambulance? Maybe? Something to think about when we tackle resources. Anyway, we haven't gotten resources down yet. Hold on. Let's look here. Development roadmap. What are we doing resource? Oh! Resource system is next. After the imposter spread, we are tackling resources. So let's explore that. Let's go over it. Now would be a good time. Yeah. All right. Because here's the thing. In order for us to we have to have the spread down for us to properly be like, okay, with these combination of resources, how long does it take for the game to go on its own? Like, if we finish the spread, not only is the spread buttery smooth, but the amount of time it takes to jump also feels good. Like, we need to get the timing down too. So we need to get the timing down for the spread to properly know how much resources we're willing to give to the player and how quickly those resources run out for the player, right? Simple solution would be the 4-level system. Basically, difficulty tracing a mimic equals more damage overall. Maybe. I would prefer the difficulty spikes would just be on the player recognizing versus just... Because in my mind, it's like, okay, so if you have a really stupid mimic, you send 1 extra policeman. Then if you have like the best mimic in the world, you would send 4 policemen? I mean, I guess. But these things are ambush predators regardless. Sure, it's smarter, but like, do we need to really allocate 4 policemen in order to get something really smart? Because they get smarter over time. So if that's the case, once it reaches to a certain point, you just don't got the policeman to take care of the smartest one anymore. And then you just can't deal with it, right? Are all the attacks in one town in one night? Yes. 1 town, 1 night. It never becomes morning in the game, regardless of how much you play. That would impact the amount of resources we give the player. Right. It's 1 night. Granted, the only potential exception for this is the idea that Star had, which we might move forward with, in which this is actually a 2-day situation, where the first day is for you practicing the game without mimics. It's where you get calls for situations, you have more, like, as far as, conversations with coworkers, like, you really kind of get a feel of the game and the core aspect of the game for a full day. Then there's the second shift that happens, and then now you start the game like you were used to, but now you have mimics starting to bleed through. But there is no multi-night mimic situation. And I don't think that first day, if you're wrong, you lose people, because that doesn't make any sense. If I didn't send enough police officers, I think they would just complain to you and then tell you to bring in more police officers. It's like, we know you're rusty, but like, come on, we're understaffed here. Like that kind of thing. Why would you need to send more? The only reason that you would is if the ambulance or policemen themselves say that they need backup or too many wounded. Yeah, like, the idea of sending more police officers when it's a mimic is because, in my mind, it prevents ambushes from being successful. So the idea that you don't have enough people to properly assess the situation, like, okay, so you have a problem that requires would policemen be able to stay ambushes? I think so. That's what I think, more so than firemen and than EMTs. I think a person with a weapon is enough of an indicator of like, hey, watch out behind you, like that kind of, like, another set of eyes that's able to then actively, like, a fireman would be able to call it out, sure, but what are they gonna do? They don't got weapons on them. They might have a fire axe, but how are they gonna prevent an ambush from the distance if they aren't armed, right? So someone with eyes who is also armed, to me, would prevent the successful ambushes from happening, in my mind, right? So, like, the problem leads to required response, and this is a required minimum response, right? Specifically in the aspect of, like, this is the amount of people required in order to deal with the situation at hand. If you have extra people, aka an extra policeman, then you have another set of eyes that isn't actively being prioritized over the situation. So if you have a situation where it's like, let's say it requires 2 policemen, a fireman, and an EMT, right? But that's the minimum. That means everyone has a job that they are doing. So a good way of putting it is saying, like, we are assigning every person to a particular job at that location, whether it be lifting debris off of a person, whether it be an EMT like putting bandages on a person, whether it be like looking, like patrolling the house to make sure that there's no other people that got hurt. Like, everyone has a job. By introducing a second police officer or an additional police officer, that police officer's job essentially is lookout. They are observing the scene at the time. And so what that creates is like, let's see here. It is Aura. Aura by Ron Gellinis. Aura. All this is Ron Gellinis, by the way. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. I've been using your music. I love it. Thank you. No problem. So that's the idea, is that the additional police officers, that you have a person who isn't actively doing something or prioritizing something. So now they are another set of eyes that isn't being pulled somewhere else. So now they can help like go through the house to make sure everything is okay. With an audio jungle, but I assume while with a mimic on the phone, you send at minimum 1 mimic and 1 police officer, then they are the ones asking for more backup, and the player needs to listen to the radio if their coworkers to respond when prompted. Kinda. At least that's how I kind of want to approach the first day. Is like, if you are wrong, they will ask you to correct it. But the second day, if you are wrong, well, let me put it this way. If the second day you are wrong and it's not a mimic, they'll still call you. If you are wrong and it is a mimic, they die. With the exception of firemen. So let's pull up. Let's see here. Let's actually move this to our resources. Monster, demo, accessibility, interaction, tutorial, imposter, challenge. Where are you? No, we definitely have resources. Don't give me that. There's no way we don't have a section for it. Are we? Do we? Do we? What the hell? Okay. That's wild. I could have sworn. Maybe tutorial? Well, we kind of touched it a bit. Wow. Okay. Well. Resources. Maybe because we haven't talked about it yet. Okay. Alright. So, as far as resources go, this is what I have in mind so far. We have 6. We have police officers. I was thinking 6. We have fire trucks. We have 3. No, we have 2 fire trucks. And then we have 3 EMTs. This is what completely made up on the spot, just gut reaction. We will adjust this number, right? It's whatever. We could even increase to like 10 or something. I don't know. And then 5 and then 2 or whatever. It don't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't matter right now because we can't properly test it. And there's different things that they do. So each one does different things. Police officers. Are we sure we didn't write this down somewhere? I swear to God we did. Is it characters? No, that's characters. I'm sorry. I want to keep looking. Because I remember writing this down before. Imposter system, resources, tutorial. Was it a tutorial? No. Interaction. Oh, is it interaction? No. Accessibility, no. Demos, demo, brainstorming, development roadmap. No, we really didn't. That is wild to me. I'm sorry. Go back to tutorial. I mean, there's this, but this isn't. We're not moving forward with this. This was the idea of the combination of different things. So instead of it being like the amount that you choose, it would be a combination. So you would have like police, ambulance, fire truck, and then if there was a fight, then it was arson, and then it was like PIF would be a riot. You would send all 3. Like it was a whole thing. And then like Death's Door, you would send 2 ambulances. Like I was exploring the idea of mix matching and doing for different things, but then I threw that away. It's an old thing. But police officers, what they do is that we would do like main reason, and then we'll put like a mimic gameplay impact, right? So the main reason is that you send them to help calm a situation down. Like any kind of like high intensity, like they're the ones that like are the forefront that when you have an escalated situation, you send a police officer to de-escalate a situation. And so let's send them to de-escalate. That's how you spell it, I'm sure. De-escalate a situation. That's the purpose of sending them. EMT is send them to reduce casualties and heal people. Reduce casualties. We'll just do that. And then fire trucks is send them to get to tough places and take out and put out fires. That's the point. That's the point for these. These are kind of like if you think that there's going to be a casualty situation, if there is a situation that needs to be de-escalated, or if you need to reach a place that's difficult to reach and or put out fires, then fire trucks. But a gameplay impact, how fast would they get to the point when called? It would be immediate? No. So you, in the very, very beginning, you'd be able to see some of these VODs in the earlier ones, probably like number 20, I want to say. We had see these are roads. You would see these symbols driving on this, and you would go to a location. I don't know how to turn that back on. But at one point, you would see on the map them arriving at the location. So instead, because before I had it where you just clicked on the house and then they would go, but instead it's like you hit send and then they automatically go to that location on the map. So you get to see where where everyone is on the map, right? I would say it depends how far. It technically takes longer the farther it is. So they all go at the same speed. But I would say like 15 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. Like, not long. It's not crazy long. But it's long enough where it's just like they're on their way and then they're like, beep, 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 and then they just arrive, right? Like, it's not instantaneous. There is a bit of a gap, but we want enough of a gap that we get to hear their responses on the radio and stuff like that. We also probably would need a delay, right? We would probably need a delay. So let's hold on. Let's write that down. It would be resource. That's not how you spell resource. Resource time distance / time. Takes longer the further it is. And then I think there's small delay on when they start moving, right? Because it's not immediate. It shouldn't be immediate. To say like, hey, you need to go to this house. They're ready to go, but it's not like they're already sitting in their cars, right? They're not like, let's get out of there. I just got an ad about a video game addiction. I mean, good luck. Good luck. Like a lot of those addiction things, you only get money if it shows that you really like got your life ruined because of it. But you know, all the power to it if it's true. Small delay when they start moving, takes longer the further it is, and you get to see the progress on the map, hear conversations of them on transit. I think I like the idea of having police cars on patrol, then the closest one make their way. All right, potentials. Patrols, especially after things go bad. A lot of people, actually. A lot of people's lives get ruined from video games, either through addiction or a lot of it. Let's put it this way: a lot of the people whose lives really get ruined is gambling. It's more gambling addiction than it is video game addiction. You know, like addiction is a reprioritization. But that's a long story. Okay, and you don't have to go into it. But yeah, just try to take care of yourself and do your best not to get its hooks in you. You know. As long as you are okay, that's what matters. Okay. First of all, why is this so damn low? Wait, let's get this up here. What the hell? You see the word gacha? Run. Yeah, like that's where a lot, I think, specifically gacha games in particular, because they use a lot of addictive, like they prey on people's tendencies and way people think and take advantage of addictive practices and manipulation and take advantage of people. which is why when I'm making stuff for y'all, I try to make sure that I don't touch up on that. And also, as I'm making games, I make sure not to do it in a sense that would create an unhealthy situation for y'all. Wasn't the point of the ad. The ad was about playing video games for hours and that's somehow ruining your life. Oh. That is also a thing for a lot of people, but like, that still exists. Say I have only made one in-app purchase, and that's because Battle Cats. Well, I'm proud of you. I'm proud for your restraint. So gameplay impact. The gameplay impact of police officers is that it prevents, it chases off mimic infestation. It chases them off. EMT prevents death of people, thus extending game. And then fire trucks prevents loss of resources. So I'll explain specifically fire trucks because that might be the most confusing aspect to this. This was something that I decided like pretty early on, was that I wanted fire trucks to be a safety measure if you're not sure. So fire trucks are essentially like an additional life for your decisions. Because in my mind, the first person in a situation that requires a fire truck, the firemen are the first ones in the door. They are the ones who will get ambushed. So, if a fire truck is there, and they are the first ones in the door, then people will see them get attacked, and then they will be able to get away. So, if you have a fire truck, and you are wrong, you will lose that fire truck, but you won't lose any other resources. Whereas if you fail, all your resources that you've sent will die. They will be removed. It's not just one. If I have one police car, 2 EMTs, and let's just say that, what is stopping sending all police officers than sending a fire truck to save them all? Then you can't send them anywhere else. If you get another call during that time, what are you going to do? You can't send anything. I will say, I think sending a fire truck after will not save them because there's still the travel time, right? Will the fire truck get there in time to make sure they don't die? Do we want to implement a system so that if you hear things start to go bad, if you send in backup, would they be able to get there in time? Or do we want it to be an auto loss? I don't know. That's something that we can discuss. Right? Oh. But it's hard to test this, right? Because in order for us to figure out what is good for this, we have to throw it in the pot and then try it, see how it feels. And like, because the question is like, okay, you prevent death with an EMT. Okay, what happens? It's like, well, we get them to the hospital. It's like, okay, we get them to a hospital. Because we do have a hospital here. It's right here. We can pick them up and then we bring them back here. All right. What do we do? Are we just going to have an ample supply of people in the hospital? Or do we send them back? Do we send them back? Should we send them back? Like, what does that mean? So, like, that's also a thing that we need to kind of figure out. It's like, okay, we have EMTs to prevent death, but what does that look like in this game? Do we release them? Say they're in the hospital, killing them all. And where do you send them? Yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I mean, if the hospital gets removed, you can't send anyone to the hospital anymore. It's taken over. Yeah. I don't think you get to send them. I think essentially EMTs help stabilize people there, but they won't send them anywhere. I don't think they can. It's like, we want to take you to the hospital, but we can't take you to the hospital. Hospital's gone. We just have to treat you at your house. And then best of luck to you. Good luck. Like, so like we could because we explored the ideas of a community center where it's like, we make an announcement based on the thing where it's on the emergency broadcast system saying people will need to go to the community center where everyone is together and safer and not just spread out to be ambushed and taken advantage of, right? And I decided against the community center. I think the school was something that I was considering as well, as far as if we wanted to go down that route. But now we kind of are approaching the same situation here where it's like, in my mind, if I was thinking strictly gameplay, just strictly gameplay, not talking about realistic scenarios, what would happen is that you would drive over to the hospital, school at night, where the school in of itself is a community center, which isn't far-fetched for small towns, by the way. We did some research as far as a school also being a community center for the town, because there's only like one school, so it's like, then, like, strictly gameplay wise, people would be dropped off at the hospital, and then they would go back home. They were like, okay, I survived this. Now it's my decision as far as where to go next. And depending on the person, they would go to the hardware store to try to bunker down. They would go to the liquor store because they're not going to be sober for this. They're going to go to their family member's house because they don't want to be alone anymore. They like go home and stand their ground. Like, they would then decide where to go next, depending on the person, would then respond to that situation, right? Not every single person would react the same. And as we make each individual person in this town, we would have like a generalization of their personality as far as how they would respond to these things, right? Not necessarily a decision tree, because that's too freaking complicated, but more or less just like, cool, in this scenario, would they hide? Would they want to be near family members? Like, we would connect them, and then we would just kind of let them decide on their own based on a pre-filled, like, quote-unquote behavior map of like, okay, this is what they would normally do in these situations. Let's see if they're able to. And then if they're not able to, then it's like a unique situation, right? But in a realistic scenario, you wouldn't release people from the hospital. If there is mimics running around outside, you don't get like you're all sutured up. You got slashed across the chest and needed 87,000 different stitches. Off you go. Like, no. They wouldn't. They would be like, bro, you're here for a week, let alone the night. Like, you ain't going nowhere. And so it's like, it's just kind of like this weird situation now where it's like, okay, well, what would you do? Kind of views on the pace of the game. How much time would you have between calls? How much would you call take? How does adding the interactions from the personnel extend the time of the call? That's a good question, Dragon. That's a good damn question. And something that we are going to tackle after the resource system. Do you see how much more work we have? We're still on imposter spread. It's imposter spread, then a resource system, then it's the NPCs leaving because that's jumps of difficulty between each one, and then it's the phone system. Then it's how long the phones take, how many times. So, I mean, no, it's good. It also confirms that I'm on the right track of prioritization of this, where it's like, hey, before we can answer the phone system, we need to make sure we have our resource system down. In order for our resources to be down, we need to figure out our imposter spread. Like, we need to make sure that we have things in order and figure things out in order so that we can build on top of it and make sure each one. I see my thoughts are also very Yeah, no, like my favorite is this. When we get to phone scripts, when we got the phone system down and the resource system and the imposter spread and we're making scripts, oh boy, we might have a whole week of that. I'm not even joking. We might do a whole week where we're just kind of like, let's think of all the really cool scripts that we can come up with, and then kind of filter them out, being like, we can't have 87,000 different scripts for this. But yeah, so what we will now do is we are going to go on our last ad break, and we are going to either continue talking about our we're going to keep on talking about resources, or we're going to finalize our decision on the ride or die and then move forward with that. So I'll see y'all in 3 minutes. No, you're fine, silly. You good? Just in time for ads. Ad attack, go! Hello and welcome. Yeah, whatever you do, don't try to refresh when ads are happening. It will completely start from the beginning. Do not. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the extra 3 cents, but love yourself. Don't. Yeah, I tried to, like, as soon as I saw that you were just like, 7 ads, this is BS, and then and then I saw you were like, why is there more ads? And I was like, no, silly, don't reset. It's so bad. Oh man. But hey, technically it's money in my pocket, and I appreciate it. I guess if you really, technically there's a thing called Turbo for Twitch, which is like a general payment towards Twitch themselves, in which in that case I still get ad revenue, but you don't get ads. It's that much a month? Yeah, that's not worth. I'm sorry. Especially since we pause too. I try to make ads like the least painful thing for y'all if I can. Least amount of time, etc. Do you know how much ads I could do, by the way? It's I mean, it does technically give money. Do you want to know how much? Hold on, let me tell you. Let me show you how much I get on ads. No, that's on that. We'll do boo. I'm doing it this way because I don't want to accidentally like give you my freaking bank number or something. Here you go. Earnings. Here. Boop. You get like $12 total. Okay, so this is the revenue in the last month. Okay, this is the last month. The light blue is the bits. Y'all went kind of crazy with the bits for a few days. The purple are subs from y'all, and then the light pink are ads. In total, in the last 30 days, I made $1.63 from y'all watching ads. $1.63 for a month. Yeah. Last period it was $1.24, and then a little bit of turbo. Yeah. Wild, right? Absolutely crazy. And I mean, to be fair, like, ads are really good if you have a big community, right? Because that's like what, $1.24 for an average of like 4 a month or 4 a stream, 4 people. So if I had 4,000 people on average on my stream, that's, you know, $1,000.290 from ads, with no extra on my end whatsoever of what I had to do for my day-to-day. Yeah. So, like, ads are great when you have a sizable audience. We're still really not, I mean, don't get me wrong, we're good. I love y'all. We're a great community. Wouldn't have it any other way. But we are not a big community by any standard of Twitch, right? And, like, so, like, as much as I would like to just turn that off, because It's not worth. I'd rather just not have ad breaks and take the $2 a month hit, you know? Oh, thanks, silly. I appreciate that. But like, I mean, it's the same for like YouTube. I still am not monetized on YouTube. Hey, Starbeast, how you doing? Like, I'm still working on trying to get all that monetization through. We just don't have the watch time. It just doesn't. We just haven't we haven't done it yet. And technically, if we get past September, because it has to be a certain amount of watch hours for a whole year. On vacation. What are you doing? Is it based on? No, it's not. It's total. It's total. So you're helping out Dragon, and I appreciate that. I say as I randomly get taken to Delta Room stream. You are fine, silly. Wait, you watch other streamers? It's kind of cringe. How dare you? Do it. Like, I'm not gonna say no. I mean, there was a joke. Hot take. You actually like me? Hot take. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, no, like there was a joke of people saying like, I'm going to start a Twitch channel, that's just about save student debt. And all it is that it's just going to play like a chill, like multiple like songs that are allowed on Twitch, and it's just something you get to put in the background, and then from ad revenue alone pay off people's student loan debt, right? So like that's one of the things where it's like, if you get enough people, ad revenue will do it, will actually really do it for people, and really take advantage of it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, and I like the idea of it, but you need so many people to like join in on it, and it's just so difficult nowadays, right? Just staying at a place that is the Shire but is not the Shire and is a fairy village. Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun, Starbeast. I hope you have a nice relaxing time. It sounds like the stress would just roll off of you. But yeah, I hope you have a good time. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you watching me on your vacation. I appreciate it. Bro, I can't wait to make enough money off of this where I can do charity streams. Not this specifically, but just make enough money where I could just do charity streams. Because that's the goal. The goal is to get enough money to actually pay off my bills, and then anything after that is like charity. Is like, I want to do like different charity stuff for different charities for different groups. Like, that's the dream. That's the dream, baby. No, Sally. Think for your future. I have Mike. Y'all are gonna make me lose even more hair than I'm already losing, and I don't appreciate it because I can't lose any more hair, guys. It's getting bad. It's good. Do not! That's so much money! Put that in a savings account. What the hell? Put that for a college fund or something. Put that for your next therapist appointment or something. Like, my God, you need it more than I do right now. And that's actually not 100% true. me looking at it all. I still need to put up the best ways to support me thing, so that y'all aren't just gonna throw it into Twitch and just be like, here you go, and I'm like, thanks, I get like half of that. I have a pretty high score of giving you bits. That's true, Star, you do. We're just hopping on the paying Mama Dodo trend. Yeah, you're the one managing the money. You play Nightrun yet? No, I haven't, but I've seen people love it. I just can't afford buying a new game right now. I just can't. And plus, like, it seems like one of those really fun games you want to play with friends. You know what I mean? I've been trying to stay a little bit away from it just for spoilers, but do not start, please. Please,
Hey.
gosh. Do not. No, silly. Don't tell other people to spend money. All of you are so Oh gosh, can we go back to talk about game dev? Can we talk about, like, hey guys, how about we just take a huge right turn and talk about what we've been talking about this whole time, which is let's talk about our coworkers. Yeah, the ride or die. Yeah, imposter spread. Yeah. It's the worst goal. People will get in the way, throw money at the question. It's more or less you give me money and I yell at you. I get mad that you're being so nice. Do not. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? Maybe it's the attention. If I ignore it, maybe it won't happen. Maybe if I just ignore the giving me money things, we can. Hey, a game. Yeah, game. So we lose the resources. Yeah. Okay. If you. I'll immediately buy it. Okay, merch is a different story. But only spend money if you can. Okay, so taking care of mom, right? Well, the service is coming in and I'll see you later. Also, if you have night rain, I would be willing to help you. Okay, cool. Thanks for the offer. And I'll be sure to let y'all know if I plan on doing some night rain stuff. That would be great. I hope you enjoy your vacation, Star Beast. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry your connection's so bad, but also that's also a good sign that you're in a place that you could really enjoy. Oh gosh. All right. Okay, so taking care of mom, right? So how do we know that our house has been mimicked? One of them is security alarm. I don't really like it because you could potentially get video evidence. Or if we're gonna go down the route of the mimic encounter where you would fail, then it could be, the police sends it's like, hey, someone tripped my alarm. Can you send some police over to make sure everything's okay? It's probably just a dog. And then they send the people over, and then those people disappear. You need to take care of, right? Your mom could be warning you not to go home because you found out the alarm went off. Maybe, but in my mind, okay, so taking care of mom, I was thinking like mom is sick and they are taking care of her. Because it's not unusual for a lot of families and a lot of cultures as well to take care, like have multi-generational households, right? It could just be like mom is sick, or just mom, they just live with their mom. It's like the mom just lives with them, right? It doesn't have to be mom is sick, but the call would be from the mom. No, not like from the quotations mom. It would be level 1. It would be the introduction of the mimic, right? Like the point would be you would get a call to recognize that the person on the other end of the phone doesn't sound like a person because it's level 1, right? It's the level 1 mimic is very obviously not a person, and it's just like, okay, well, what do I do? So I guess also the question lies in the fact of if we get it wrong, if we're trying to get them to get it wrong for the first time that they play it, how do we make sure that we then teach them the right way without blatantly saying it, A, and B, making it so that it's so they fail so many times they become frustrated and they stop playing the game, right? The house isn't a mimic. The house is coming. The call is coming from the house. Ooh. But I was thinking, it's like maybe mom could be warning. Yeah, I hope you know once I have the $7, please don't. Please save your money. But yeah, no. The idea here, if we also the issue with the security alarm is that doesn't get a call from a mimic, right? You don't get if it's a security alarm, you don't get a call from a mimic. You don't have any indication what the person on the other end of the phone call is. But we could also potentially say that the call from the first call from a mimic isn't your house. It could be somewhere else. It could still be the introduction of someone tripped the alarm. You send people accordingly, but because you didn't know it was a mimic, you lose those resources, right? And specifically with those resources here, this would be after you lose those resources, right? And they would also give indication of like, oh, this is the second time I'm playing the game. I know this first call is going to be a mimic. I'm going to respond accordingly. There's a mimic, and now you have more resources. Right? Well, I mean, we don't call the police, right? If we're talking about the security, like they think you're wasting their time. What do you mean? I think I lost you or you lost me. Someone's lost here. It could be both of us. We could be both lost together, I suppose. Yeah. Let me backtrack. Let's see if we're connect here. Connect the dots for me. It's been a hot minute. But so if because we're exploring two different ideas kind of simultaneously, which is a problem. Which is security alarm notifies you, the player. You player then sends police officers to check out your house that someone is messing around they shouldn't, and to check it out. Those police officers end up dying because you didn't send the appropriate amount in response to a mimic, right? Unless you've played the game before, know that it's a mimic, then you send the appropriate response, and then you keep those additional resources in that playthrough because you responded correctly, even though you wouldn't have that knowledge the first time you play, right? We could go down that route where it rewards you for knowing things more than you previously did. Because this is a game we want people to play over and over again, right? It gives replayability, exactly. The first time you lose resources, you're like, aw, damn. But the problem with the mentality of you fail the first time, which is what we're kind of exploring through here, is that the mimic encounter the first time, you would fail at sending the correct response, you would lose those resources. Okay, you will lose those resources. How do we indicate what you should be doing? How do we show them what they should be doing besides them just welcome back? Welcome to the sketchy stream. Going in and out. How would we show, well, we are making it forced by losing them no matter what, or would be purely a red herring trick? It would be you are being introduced a mimic without being told that it's a mimic for the first time. Meaning, most people would respond normally. They wouldn't respond like it was a mimic. They would respond normally, which is wrong, so they lose. But, if you respond like it was a mimic, first thing, you don't lose those resources anymore. Right? We could make it so it's like super easy. Like, you would normally send one police car. But because you would normally send that, they would lose it, etc. And then the next playthrough, you would know that first one is a red herring, so you send 2 police cars, and now you get to keep an additional police car throughout your game because you already knew that first one was a red herring, right? Which kind of gives already that immediate reward of like, oh, okay, cool. You thought of adding, by the way, of lies you could tell people to either help them or hurt their chance of survival. We haven't completely gone through as far as how we want the player, the agency we want to give the player to communicating with the people. As of right now, the player is mute. Like, no response from the main character whatsoever for the most part as far as these calls coming in. When we discuss the phone call interaction, we will be getting down and dirty as far as how we want to address that specifically, right? That's what I meant with it. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. But, so, it's like, okay, so we lose those resources. When player plays a new game, they will have the opportunity to pick correctly. Now that they understand what they needed to do. You could also make it where you lie to them to gain resources, but possibly get them killed, so yes to your grace. But also have consequences then seen for the future. Lie to them to gain resources. how would we gain emergency vehicles? I call them resources because that's in my brain how they're categorized, but these are emergency vehicles and personnel, right? Chicken butt. The game basically tells you in case of burglaries, send one police officer, but you feel it's off, the tutorial is wrong. Yeah, adding deception to an already thinking heavy game already adds too much. Feels like it adds too much complication. Is that too much complication? Is being like, oh, the tutorial was the previous day, this is a new day, this is a new thing, we're gonna lie to you a little bit. Well, let me put it this way. How are we going to show? Here's a good question. Let's go back to the tutorial. Let's go back to this damn tutorial. How do we... Star. Why? Star. Star, thank you for your support, as always. Please be okay financially. But I appreciate your support, as always. Thank you. I'm not gonna murder you. Thank you for your support. I very much appreciate it. Just looks at the camera. Thank you, Star. I appreciate it. Just as long as you are spending money that you are able to, and you are taken care of, and happy and comfortable, then I will gladly take it. You do get a badge for donating or giving bits, a certain amount of bits per month, I want to say. So I guess Star eventually cheered up to 1,000 bits overall, so they went from 100 to 1,000. So, and technically, that's one of the things that's becoming on the first update, by the way. The first big update will have custom animation and custom badges for stuff like that. This is such a serious time. I thought I was caught off guard. Sorry, I can bring out dad voice. I apologize for that. I don't want you to feel like you did anything wrong. As long as you are taking care of yourself, I should be thankful and receive kindness better. So that's on me. So thank you. I very much appreciate it. I just hope you're okay. Starbeast. Leaving out supplies they thought you could use, people pick it up. So to clarify, by resources, I mean specifically emergency vehicles. It is the police cars, the EMTs, and the fire trucks that are resources. They don't have resources, they don't gather resources, they are the resources. And by getting things correctly, you get to keep those resources. You get to keep those vehicles. But if you get it wrong and you didn't do things correctly, you lose those emergency vehicles. You lose those resources, and now you have less vehicles to send out to help people. You could just take their cars. It's true. Thanks again, Star. I appreciate your help as always. I'm trying to be thankful and yeah. Okay. It's true. You did say you do it. You did warn me. It's true. Maybe if I throw my phone at the wall at work, I hope not. It sounds like it would make it worse. So ideas. Though it was. You are at your first day in the AR job. You hear the first call. It's off because Mimic. Tutorial tells you this is a simple crime. It only needs to calling one police car. Send one. They die. It's kind of like this is for clarity, the first call you get is not a mimic call. A mimic call will happen after a certain amount of previous normal calls. The normal calls in the beginning will be the tutorial, right? This is not a immediate mimic. You don't start the game with a mimic. You start the game learning how to respond to people, respond to normally. And then once there's a certain point in the game in which then we're like, okay, cool, now Mimic's happening. And then we move forward with that. So the first Mimic that you get introduced to, I am considering having it be a red herring / lie, where it's like, I did everything correctly, why did they die? We introduced rule sets that has now been understood. And then we have now thrown in for some reason, this one is now like causing, like, something was different with this one. Why did the rules suddenly change? And now you have to figure out what that is. Yeah, I was gonna say, is it charging? Because if it's the stream, then it might be pulling too much from your phone. Or is it in the light? That would also do it. Also, since you are making this game, I wanted to give you something for basically making a donation for to the paying actors and other people that can help you with the coding. Aw, thanks, Star. Yeah, thank you. Very much appreciated. I appreciate that. Wait, why did your symbol return back to like the old one? Didn't you have a 1000-bit badge a while ago? Maybe you switched it back. I appreciate it. I think we haven't discussed as far as voice actors and everything, but I'm leaning towards hiring people. I'm hoping to get, hopefully by that point I'll have like a job, and then we'll be able to have like voice actors and stuff. Just from like today's market, I don't think AI is the right way we should be going about it in general. As much as I want to also voice act and try to like push my limits for that, I could certainly do that as well. Do maybe some voice changes here and there, but I think I should be, even though it's the more expensive option, I think it's the right choice. Especially if I can get voice actors that are like new and trying to get into the space. I think that would be kind of cool. You know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of neat. It's just like, hey, for anybody, like anyone who's just kind of like getting into it, if they want to be a part of it, then they can. There's this guy, I can't spell his name, but basically all the donations from Twitch that he gets, he pay to animators, voice actors, and editors for the videos, so that's what I wanted to do for you. Aww. Yeah, no, you're fine, Star. Thank you. I appreciate it. Honestly, technically, you are. But all the money goes to me, who is animating and voice acting and drawing and making stuff. So technically, yeah, thank you. I very much appreciate it. You are definitely helping, and I appreciate that. Just know that I don't want you to feel obligated in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate it nonetheless. Anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking about tutorial. Do you plan on using Game Development Helping Foundation? What is a Game Development Helping Foundation? Is that a thing? And how often do I have to be doing a game in order to get help? Because we do it once a week. So for like 4 hours. So I don't know if it's like, yeah, if you're full-time at game dev, it's like, well, I'm a full-time content creator, but technically a game dev is like 4 hours away. Price resources for new game developers. Okay. All right. You know what? Hold up. Let me let's see. Check out Game Dev Helping Foundation. All right, well, let's see. You know what? I might put it out, for y'all. Just be like, hey, here's a list of different lines and stuff as like an intro. If y'all want to try any of them and put a recording, let me know. And then if any of them match what I have in mind, we just go for it. Well, that's really cool. That's awesome. I'm glad. Listen, I love supporting fundraisers and stuff like that. Hell yeah. Aww. But yeah, no. I don't even know where I was at. We were talking about normal calls beginning with the tutorial. Oh, hold on. Boop. We were talking about, so we'll have normal calls. I think we're going to go in the direction with that Star mentioned previously, which is the idea of that we'll have like 2 days. The first day is normal calls. We'll get kind of a feel of it, because having it within the same day, I think it's actually here. Yeah. Having it in one day, kind of like how long before someone is comfortable? How do we know when they're comfortable? Right? And we could do it where it's just like, oh, they won't start until you get like, they won't start unless you get them right like 5 times in a row or something. I think it referred to the mimic being the first call of the night. Yeah, no. The first call is not a mimic call, but there will be a first mimic call at some point in the game after the player has proven that they understand the mechanics of the game, right? And we need to introduce that in an organic way. Can you please be a Canadian in the game where it has the average Canadian accent? Maybe. Or I could potentially hire a Canadian voice actor. You know? But I'm gonna try my voice acting, try to do different things on there and see how well I can actually get that going and how many different versions I can actually go for. Because I understand how I want things to be, so it's a lot easier if I do it myself. But at the same time, there's only so much I can do as far as changing my voice, which is one of the reasons what I considered doing when I was talking about that, where it's like, just hire a comedian. There should be a Canadian or somewhere, right? But no. Thank you, Starbeast. I'm really looking forward to once everything is like lined up and good to go. I'm really happy how this game is like turning out, and I'm so excited to get this done. Well, not get this done in that aspect, but like I'm really hoping to pick get to a point where we get to do this more often, not just once a week, like twice a week, so we can kind of get back on like a decent timeline. But yeah, no, I'm excited. Can we boop the Mama Dodo doll in Desk and it plays the sound alerts from your streams? That's so funny. We did have boop. We did have boop on Easter eggs. Mama Dodo squeaky rubber duck is what I had. But the idea of sound alerts from the streams is really funny too. I mean, the game is also gonna have like all of our social links and stuff like that in there too, so people can support. So because I went pretty into detail as far as like pirating games and stuff like that, and my stance on that for my future for this game. Unless we probably won't play this game, no offense, but it's not my type of game. Too much strategy. Understandable. Like, I'm not. It's just a VTuber model, right? What if it's a PNG tuber? in this 3D world, there's just a 2D Dodo here, just like constantly facing. That would be funny. But yeah, no, like, don't feel obligated to play the game. Like, that's why I have like a lot of eggs and a lot of baskets. If it's just like, man, I want to support them, but I don't want to play that game, then do something else. You watch my ads, that's enough. Yeah, this is gonna be on Steam. This is gonna be on Steam, and I'm considering putting this on tablets as well, because this interaction here is very touchscreen friendly. So I'm considering bringing some horror to the touchscreen space in that aspect, because I think also there's like a good market for that, because I don't think there's a whole lot of horror that's in that kind of space. And especially if this game is hopefully is half as good as I hope it's going to be, I think it will do well on a touchscreen space. I don't think we'll be able to do phone, but at the very least, I think like tablets and things of that nature would be able to play it. I have not played Granny. No. I need some Momododo facing toward the camera. It's like the idea where you mentioned earlier about donating. She just turns towards the camera. That would be really funny. Like a vine boom, and then Momododo just rotates and just stares. I already have in mind what I'm going to do for the animations, for donations and things like that in bits. And I will have different animations for different amounts as well. But you know, that will come with the first update. You should play Yes, Your Grace if you need inspiration. It's not very long, but it's good ideas. Yes, Your Grace. What's that about? Check out Yes, Your Grace. Okay. Hold on here. Let's get stream notes up here. I shouldn't be putting this here. Let's see things to look out for. Fix inked. There we go. Should be on my to-do list. I have too many different things happening. Okay. Well, I'll check it out. No, this is... I'm excited. I'm excited for this game. If we can actually get to it. We've been on the imposters thing for months now. I keep on getting distracted. But today we're talking about... I mean, we're kind of deep diving today into like resource management and stuff like that, which is good. As well as the tutorial, which is also really important. We want to make sure that we have how we shape the tutorial is also something we need to keep in mind as we're going through the imposter system, right? When does it turn on? When does the mimics turn on, right? Which Momododo am I thinking right now? Because it's the long neck can do some damage to the beak. Oh, this is the vulture. This is Martha, the vulture Momododo. So what's the current problem with the spread? So the current problem with the spread is, let's see here. That's imposter system. Where's the imposter spread? There you are. The current issue is leaving spaces. So we're going to fix that by making almost like a two more bigger things. So what we would need to do is if we go in to I believe it is going to be on viewport. Here we go. If we go to viewport and we go to the mimic proximity and stuff like that, that is where we have multiple mimics happening. So there's a couple things that happens. So in order to close these gaps, it's two things. One, we need multiple ranges of this, but we also need multiple mimics. And as of right now, mimic, like, we need them happening at different times, right? Not one operator game is a good reference. I watched playthroughs of that to get proper. I used it as a resource as far as like determining like what do I want to take with it, what do I not want to take with it, right? Right. Like that one had a lot of responding with people, and that was the gameplay loop. Whereas like how you respond to people and get answers, and then you use that to determine it. But that wasn't necessarily the gameplay. Mine is more not my neighbor adjacent than it is 911 operator adjacent. You know what I mean? Are we taking into account the distance from which you send your resources to and from? There is a bit of a delay as far as sending things, along and getting those. You know, the farther it is, the longer it takes. But like the difference is like probably 10 seconds, I want to say. Like This is not going to be a big map. It's not like it will be like the difference is minutes. But it will be a delay nonetheless, because we also want to like hear them talk on the radio. We want on transit kind of interaction there. So we don't want to make it too slow where making a decision feels very, very like you need to make a fast decision. We don't want that. While at the same time, we don't want to make it too fast where we can't build a proper narrative around making these NPCs feel like people, right? Why am I so eepy? I don't know. Great. Listen, game deving's difficult. Game dev is it's kind of one of those things where it just takes a lot out of you. Why do you think I drank Mountain Dew at the beginning of this stream? It's not because I love my intestines, tell you that much right now. There are so many things that'd be cool while playing for prepaid DLC updates. Yeah, no, like I also, I plan on there being an update for this, considering adding like almost like Bigfoot chasers that love, like they've been chasing these things for a while, so they give you more information. But that was something that I potentially wanted to add as kind of like an additional tutorial aspect to it, but it wasn't like the minimum viable product, so I removed it. And then like I've considered the idea of, as far as, what's the word I'm looking for? I think I just lost my train of thought. We were talking about free paid DLC updates, adding something. We talked about the demo, which would be a precursor at the smaller town, which would be a prequel to this game, technically, just much smaller. I don't remember. Someone flashed my brain. Someone Men in Black flashed my brain, and now I'm just like, yeah, it was Bigfoot Finders. I removed it. All right, Night Dragon, thanks for joining me. Thanks for all your feedback, by the way, and all your questions and getting us on track. Much appreciated. You did wonderful, and I hope you have a wonderful night. I'd be a lazy bum if I went back to sleep. Live your life. Live your life. I mean, if you're tired, you're tired. I mean, if you sleep too much, you'll just stay tired. So careful with that. But like, it kind of depends on your environment too. If you're still in bed, of course you'd be sleeping, right? But the DLC. Oh, I remember. I have considered mods as far as like. Oh, would I be a lazy bum? No. You wouldn't be a lazy bum. I don't think so. Some days you just need extra sleep. So the resources just the amount of the vehicles, emergency responders? Yes. The resources are just the police cars, the EMTs, and the fire trucks. Those are the resources, because that is what prevents these places to be taken over, and without those resources is what causes the game to completely snowball out of control, and you lose the game quickly. The point of the game is to last as long as possible with the limited resources you have at hand. It is secretly a resource management game. Like, underneath the hood, that's what this kind of game is. Like, at its core, it is an investigative resource management game. That is horror. Imagine we had a call for a cat stuck on a tree. I also considered things where it's just like, well, I mean, that's why we have like red herrings, right? We will have calls that either kind of doesn't require an emergency response or requires a very limited response. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, thanks. I appreciate the compliment. Simple. Listen, for my brain, simple's needed. Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing where it's like, when it comes to game design, you want to make things deep, but you don't want things complex. So it's like, okay, that's why we want all these systems to like be here. You just have things to listen to, things to pick up the phone, a very simple, like, send this amount of police cars, this amount of ambulance, and this amount of fire trucks, and then that's it. And that's actually why I got rid of where's the tutorial? I got rid of this. this is something that I was considering for the resources, which was you would have police, ambulance, and fire truck, and depending on the situation, you would use a combination of police, ambulance, and or fire truck, and then you would it would go up to 3 or whatever. So you would have 1 police officer, and then you would have 2 police officers, and then you would have this long list of interchangeable stuff. And at the same time, I'm like, that's kind of complex. That's a lot. That's a lot to remember. Especially, we want all of the mental load to be to figure out if the person's a mimic or not. We don't want the mental load to be what resources do you send. That shouldn't be part of the mental load. It should be a little bit, but it shouldn't be the main forefront issue that you need to solve at hand. And so I said no to this. This was too complicated, too far, and we try to move on with it. But we're still not at the point where we're doing resources as of yet. I mean, we talked about it a lot today, which I'm fine with, but in order for us to properly test this out to make sure it feels good, we have to have the spread down and ready to go. And it's how fast this jumps around, how big each of the spread goes, how different houses influence each other, how many different mimics are floating around and kind of doing that and making sure the timing feels good, right? And in order for this to go through, we'll probably have a very, very, very specific and very simple call that comes in. We go out and then we just go boop, and then that boop is just it gives us 2 options. It's human mimic, win, lose, correct, incorrect, and we just click it, and then we see and we just gotta get that feel. So one of these streams is going to be us just kind of sitting and getting a feel. Oh, archery? Oh, that's so cool. Have fun. That sounds so much fun. Enjoy your vacation, Starbase. Thanks for stopping by. Wonderful having you, as always. You have a wonderful day. Enjoy being at the Shire. But yeah, no. The way that I don't know. I'm kind of dragging my brain through way too many different topics. I mean, I would like to be able to tackle the actual spread, but I think today is just more of a resources kind of discussion. The imposter, you know what? We'll do this. We'll make a decision on the coworker. We will make it so that the person is an elder brother of the main character. I think it introduces a lot of special things. As far as they both work in that kind of environment. I might change my mind later. That's fine. I think mom will call. I think take care of mom. They're taking care of their mom. The mom calls. Mom doesn't sound like mom. They send police over there to check it out. And then if they get it right, then they get chased. That gets checked out, and then the brother and the sister has to deal with the fact that their mom has died. That's something that they're gonna have to come across. So the ride or die is, as of right now, elder brother. It's interesting. I don't know if it's more interesting that they are an older brother and we can play with that, or if it's just a manager that doesn't want to leave someone for dead. That there's a rumor that the main character and the ride or die are romantically involved, right? I'm not sure which is more interesting. We might have a vote. We might just do a vote. But as of right now, it doesn't really matter. That is something that we can figure out once figure out once we get to like the script level where we're gonna have to actually make scripts for this kind of stuff and decide what people do what. Then we can really knock that out of the park. But for now, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna go ahead and just do finalized reasons for ride or die. They are the older brother. Call is from mom. Okay. Boom. Then we didn't add anything to the scripts. We went into detail about resources. Created new tab. Let's see here. This is the mimic spread. We didn't do anything to the mimic spread. Unfortunate, but you know, whatever. We spent, I would say, a third of this just yapping, so I'm not gonna interaction, coworkers. Yeah, this is the ride or die. We made the decision. We also touched up on the tutorial. Made a decision on tutorial where it's 2 days. First day is of normal calls and gives player background info. First call. No. Oh yeah. Explored idea that first call, first mimic call doesn't give player the heads up what they need to do in response, thus most likely will lead to failure as an introduction that the rules have changed and will need to figure out why and in what way. Okay, so as far as things that we did today, we finalized the ride or die. We went into detail about resources, so we started to, really got into it. We created a new tab for it. Something that we are going to have to tackle later. We made a decision on a tutorial where it's 2 days, first day of the normal call and gives player background info, and then explored the idea that the mimic's first call doesn't give the player a heads up and they need to do in response. Let's see, was there anything else that we did? Went into detail as far as the tutorial will have a lot of normal calls, but that's kind of what we were talking about. Distance and time. Discussed travel time for resources and delay after decision. Let's go ahead and move this down because this is also talking about resources, right? So we want to do that. Okie dokie. Challenge. Let's see. Anything else? I think that was about it. I think that's all we talked about today. So we didn't really move forward. We made some decisions that are important, but I think what we're going to do is decide that I have a goal for next stream posted here. So now for the 10th of June, we'll have a goal, and the goal is finish at least one pain point of the of the mimic spread. No, finish, work on / finish increased spread probability. Increase spread and introduce probability. Probability. I can spell. Introduce probability. Spread. Introduce probability of further spread chances. Yeah. That's the goal. So we're now introducing goals for next time. Next time, that will be like our main focus, because I think that's what we've been missing, is that like we kind of jump in being like, where were we? And then we get distracted, and then we start working on a bunch of different stuff, and then like the main thing that we need to tackle isn't being taken care of. So with that being said, thank you everyone for joining me here today. It was wonderful having you, and I'm really excited as far as this game, and I'm looking forward to continue working on it with you. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and I will see y'all on Saturday. All right. Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.